It is 6:01. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. In Titans news yesterday, defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons has signed a revised contract that gives him a $632,529 raise for 2025, which accounts for the 17th game check Simmons did not receive in his previous extension back in 2023. Today, offensive coordinator Nick Holt, special teams coordinator Bones Fossil, and defensive coordinator Jernard Wilson will all speak to the media at 11 a.m. You can hear those pressers right here on 104.5 The Zone, courtesy of the Buck Rising Show. Monday Night Football doubleheader last night as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers improved to 2-0 after beating the Houston Texans 20-19 after a Rashad White touchdown with 6 seconds left to play, sealing the win for the Buccaneers. In the late game, Los Angeles Chargers are 2-0 as they beat the Las Vegas Raiders 20-9 and now sit atop the AFC West standings. And several key injuries after week 2 of the NFL season. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels was diagnosed with a sprained knee and is in doubt to play this week. Backup quarterback Marcus Mariota would get the start should Daniels not play Sunday against the Raiders. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy has a high ankle sprain and is expected to miss the next 2 to 4 weeks. Backup Carson Wentz is in line to start. And Bears All-Pro cornerback Jalen Johnson is likely to miss the rest of the regular season with a groin injury that will require surgery. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Tuesday morning starts right here on Ramon and Will. Fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Back in studio on 104.5 The Zone. It's streaming live on Zone TV. We got the breakfast blend going from Scooter's Coffee today. And as always, we're fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks. Amazingly fast. If you're up this early listening to us, then you got time to go by and get some Scooter's Coffee on your way into work. If you're still getting ready for the day, we've just given you your reminder. You know what? I should leave 15 minutes earlier because it's not going to take very long. It's going to be quick and easy. I'm going to go by Scooter's this morning and get a little pick-me-up. Good way to start the day. He's Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. 615-737-1045, the number. If you couldn't get in yesterday, we got more time for you today to get your phone calls in, get your thoughts on the Titans, on the Vols, on the football weekend. Ramon Foster, how we doing?
We're doing good, man. Got 8th grade night tonight from our youngest. You chase doing so much with the oldest, you forget that, the youngest is growing up too. So that was a little bit of an eye-opener for dad and mom, okay? But all in all, we're doing good, man. Got a busy slate of stuff to do today before that happens. And I just recapping the football weekend. Real good ball.
There was a lot we did not get to yesterday.
A lot of good ball this past weekend, man. So I saw a meme yesterday. It was just like, we beg all the way from from March all the way through July and August for football, and then we get it and we curse it and just get upset and get mad.
That's right.
And it controls our emotions.
That's exactly right.
And I like it. And I absolutely like it, Will.
No, especially we felt that on Sunday night when the Vikings and Falcons are Sunday Night Football, and it's just a slog. I had that exact thought. Like, you know what? I wished for this in June. I can't complain now. I desperately wanted a bad Sunday night primetime game.
You did.
And by God, I'm going to sit here and watch every second of it.
Yes.
I did not watch every second of Raiders and Chargers last night, though, because we need our sleep.
Yes, we do.
But Buccaneers-Texans was fun last night.
Listen, man, Baker Mayfield.
Top 5 quarterback in the NFL. You people laughed at me. You people laughed at me. And yes, I do mean you people.
Hey, Baker is cooking, man. He's got the poise. He always had the toughness. Watching him have the poise. And also, I'd almost like to ask, like, he had playmakers in Cleveland still. And for whatever reason, either from up top, his head coaches.
I love how you go straight to Cleveland. You're consistent. No, you continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to throw that in there as you kept cooking.
I was smiling for the people that couldn't. No, but I say that to say I wonder how many other quarterbacks have gone through their system and couldn't make it work or just got down in their careers because of how it was operated or how many coaching changes that they had. And you're watching Baker have a head coach in Todd Bowles with some stability. And Cleveland's always had a defense. They've always had a defense. But the finicky decision-making and the quick firings that have happened over the years begs you to say, I honestly want to relate it here. How much time do you give people to really get through their system? How much time or how many people have you kicked to the, to the side and not allow these guys to develop or find the right coordinator? Maybe the head coach works and it's the coordinator that you line them up with because I'm watching Tampa has a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, they do. They do. And they don't have Chris Godwin. They've got Emeka Egbuka, the rookie.
Yes.
Out of Ohio State, who wasn't even the best player on his college team last year. It appears to be a high-level NFL wide receiver already.
And he's showing it already, man. Just the different variations of plays they're running. Baker getting in space. He took some hits last night. I'm sure he'd love to have back. But he was a showman last night. I enjoyed it. I actually thought, too. People talking about the Emeka Egbuka drop. Emeka Egbuka had a lot of open space to the right.
Sure
Baker threw that to the left a little bit more than I think he hoped he when he go back and look at the tape. That was a Baker mess up right there more than anything.
Yeah, last night, Baker Mayfield, the 2-minute drive at the end of the game was terrific.
Yeah.
A 2-minute drive masterclass. Final 150 seconds, final 2 minutes and 20 seconds, 11 plays, 80 yards. An incredible run for 15 yards on fourth down. He gets away from Henry To'oTo'o, who he transferred out of the pocket and moved. He transferred out of the pocket. I'm just going to keep saying it till you laugh. He transferred out of the pocket around Henry To'oTo'o. All right, I'm done. And moved the chains of that play. But I'll tell you what, the operation of that 2-minute drive, it made it look so easy. I know they got to a fourth down. I think he heard Troy Aikman say he wasn't that athletic as well on the broadcast and then immediately made that play.
Watch this.
That was crazy.
It was.
I like Troy. I'm not going after Troy personally. Legitimately, Troy Aikman, if you didn't watch the game, well, he's not that athletic of a guy. He's just, he's got that kind of, he was trying so hard not to say sneaky athleticism, but essentially that's what he said.
Exactly what it was.
He little boyed him.
He did.
He
little
sunned
boy
him.
For a guy that's never been mobile and
I don't know. Like Baker Mayfield won a Heisman by being a really dang good athlete. I know he's not as young as he once was, but he's not old by any stretch of the imagination either.
Baker's been this though.
Yeah, this is who he is.
This is who he was,
Absolutely.
man.
Absolutely.
And by the way, that I see a comment that said, "Please stop, Ramon. We are 3-16." I know, Timmy. I know, man. But what I'm saying, patience is key.
We don't warm up to negativity on this show, do we? We just let it fly to start the morning.
My drive in is all the negative we need, man. Surviving traffic. Will listen. My point is this: Baker's not bad.
No.
Baker was in a bad situation.
No.
Sometimes you make quick decisions, and those decisions they continue to just go downhill, snowball downhill, man. And you don't want that is all I'm saying. I don't know what's the next move or what move will not be made. But what I'm getting at is sometimes patience, man, has its payoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's elite at this point.
Yeah.
He really is.
I like watching him. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's fun.
I know somebody
Very
was
fun.
at training camp with them and just said, they had the same perceptions that I feel like most of the people that didn't know Baker Mayfield had, where he was just loud. You didn't know if he actually studied the way you needed to. It was like, no, this dude is a leader.
Yeah.
He's a trash talker.
Right.
His teammates get behind him. It's fun watching him. And I'm sure a lot of people want that for Cam Ward here. So
Yeah, absolutely.
bring it right back.
Well, it was interesting last night, and we'll get to the Texans' perspective on this. We are going to catch up on a lot of the NFL headlines coming up here in 10 minutes because we were so Titans and then Vols and Vandy heavy yesterday that we didn't get a lot of time to go around the league and look at some of the other results. But, man, Houston can't run the ball. They cannot run the ball. And all of our problems about the offensive line that we had with that team look to be 100% accurate about Houston at this point. But for Tampa, Bucky Irving and Rashad White were excellent in this game. Each of them able to run effectively. Bucky Irving, even in the pass game, I mean, he led them in receptions. 6 catches for 50 yards to go with 17 rushes for 71 yards, 30 carries for 169 for Tampa in this one to win it. C.J. Stroud was only 13 of 24 for 207. He was sacked 3 times. He threw 1 touchdown.
He could have got sacked more.
100%.
He could have gotten beat to shreds last night, man. They were on him. He was running side to side. Their crowd was booing the heck out of the offensive line. It was porous, not just in the passing game, but also in the run game too. To your point, Will, they couldn't run anything. Nick Chubb, I mean, I feel like business decisions are made whenever he's running the ball in the tight red zone like that, and you just get out the way. But without him and that touchdown run he had last night, that is a low-scoring game, man. What was it, 31 rushing yards before his last night? So
correct.
Insanely bad operation offensively for them. I was looking at it, just correlating it to the Titans. If you can't run the ball and establish one part of your game, I don't care what Nico Collins does. I don't care how many shots they hit down the field. They're going to get C.J. Stroud in the same situation I feel like that Joe Burrow's in, where he has so much just hate for going out there and standing in the pocket that you won't be able to run the offense. Like that, it was fascinating watching the look on his face go from excitement to just like, I can't do what I need to do anymore. His running back, who the heck was it last night? It was
Dare Ogunbowale.
Oh,
he got roasted.
Gosh.
Roasted in pass blocking.
Ogunbowale absolutely got lifted. Do you hear me? Into C.J. Stroud. If you can't protect with the running backs or the offensive line,
yep.
I mean, and there's Cam Robinson on the sideline. Like, put him as an up back in the backfield at this point.
Well, we're going to talk about what Brian Callahan said about pass protection yesterday, because Brian is right, and we're going to talk about it at 7:20, about how sacks are a team issue, not just an offensive line issue. If you watched that game last night and you look at the stats and you see 3 sacks on C.J. Stroud, you're probably thinking, oh, that's that bad. Houston offensive line just can't hold up. It was as much about Tampa sending 7 when they only had 6 to block guys, where CJ's got to know the ball's going to come out, or the running back's got to pick up somebody, or CJ's got to just get rid of it. Like, I didn't think all of it was on the O-line, and then I thought there were sacks that Tampa didn't get that were on the offensive line. So, I mean, it's ultimately 3 sacks were pretty fair last night for Houston, even though the offensive line wasn't at fault for all of them. But they got issues.
Yeah, they do.
And when we come back, we're going to look around the NFL headlines. D'Amico Ryans had a pretty telling quote last night about C.J. Stroud. We'll talk about that next. 615-737-1045. We stream the show live on Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Live for the 1045 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. NFL news and notes out of week 2 coming up next. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. What's going on? It's Will Bowling, from first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props, with a live thrill of in-game betting. Every snap is loaded with opportunity. And new customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THEZONE. That's code THEZONE, THEZONE, to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. 21 plus, Tennessee only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto-renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Put Lee Company on your team and stay ahead of the game with home maintenance, repairs, and more. For as little as $14 a month, become a Lee Company Plus member and receive 4 annual visits to your home for your heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical systems. Even better, Lee Company Plus members receive up to 20% off on every visit and enjoy priority service. You're going to learn more about this at leecompany.com/plus. Platinum Home Protection starts with a Lee Company Plus membership. And with Lee Company Plus, you get to stay ahead of Mother Nature. You get to stay ahead of whatever the Middle Tennessee weather can throw at you, whether you get an unexpected heat wave or blast of cold air. With Lee Company Plus, all of your electrical systems and your HVAC, it's running smoothly. It's running the way that it is supposed to. So get those 4 annual visits to your home for your heating, AC, plumbing, and electrical systems. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000. They're online at leecompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Football season is snack season, is tailgate season, it's dip season this time of year. What's going on? It's Will Bowling. I want to tell you about my new obsession, Daisy French Onion Dip. This stuff is terrific. The Daisy French Onion Dip, the Daisy Ranch Dip that Daisy has just come out with, they are a game changer. If you know me, you've heard me talk about how one of my guilty pleasures during football season is eating dips with chips, wings, and veggies while watching the big game. I did it over the weekend, made some wings, got some veggies going, and just put both those dips just right there on the table. Absolutely perfect. The Daisy Ranch Dip, the Daisy French Onion Dip, they're both as delicious as a homemade dip. They're made with real herbs and spices and other ingredients you'd find in your own kitchen. So make sure you grab some for the football this upcoming weekend, whether you are at a watch party, whether you're tailgating, or whether you just want a good snack to have around the house. Go buy and get some at a grocery store near you. Check it out. Daisy French Onion Dip, Daisy Ranch Dip. That's Daisy French Onion Dip at a grocery store near you. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee, a 104.5 The Zone, locally owned Scooters Coffee in Middle Tennessee. Check them out. Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Phone calls at 615-737-1045. So the Houston Texans fall 20-19 last night to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home in primetime. The Texans are 0-2, Ramon. Should they be hitting the panic button, or how concerned does that fan base need to be about what that football team has put out there so far?
I would say defensively, you better have your head on the swivel. As much movement as Tampa had last night to only still give up 20 was phenomenal. Daniil Hunter ended up becoming a 100-sack guy in his career. Will Anderson Jr. got another sack last night. Defensively is problematic. Offensively, I'm hitting the panic button. I am. No real answer that you can think of right now, and it's only 2 weeks in at the running back position. You got Nico Collins, and it's the way I look at their situation also. If CJ can't sit in the pocket, it's very problematic for that team. They got to find some level of protection for him and consistency offensively. If CJ is as good as they say he is, and now with OC that he also chose, and they've been working together this offseason, there's a lot that's also being put on his plate. I can't understand, and I know Ante, how you say his name?
Who?
The left tackle, the young rookie.
Ariante Ursary.
There we go. I had it different. Ariante Ursary.
Yep.
Had it backwards. He had issues last night himself. Watching him protect last night, too. Up the middle, they had a whole lot of issues, too. He's getting attacked from the outside and through his guard triangle up the middle, too. That's an issue. I'm hitting panic on the offense big time. They've done everything you wanted them to do defensively. They got some lockdown corners over there, safeties, and up the middle is going to be problematic for them. Offensively, C.J. Stroud going to look very pedestrian moving forward if they can't get him protected and establish a solid run game.
I think you're starting to talk about Houston's offensive line issues breaking C.J. Stroud. It's way too early to say that for his entire career, obviously, and young quarterbacks go through these peaks and valleys, but Ramon, in the low red zone last night, they had 1st and goal from the 1. They don't have a run game enough, and they don't have enough of a good offensive line to just fall over and push Nick Chubb in. Mm-hmm. They can't run the illegal tush-push stuff, which we'll talk about from the weekend. They can't just line up in the neutral zone because they're not the Eagles, and they can't run the tush-push because they will get flagged for it, even though Philly won't. And C.J. Stroud was inaccurate to Nico Collins. And then Nick Caley, the new offensive coordinator, caused a rollout to the left where they're looking for Collins on a corner in the back of the end zone. It's nothing there, and C.J. Stroud just eats it, just throws it so long, deep into the back pylon that the wide receiver has no chance. I mean, it was literally a comedy of errors of offensive line issues. You can't run the ball, inaccurate passing, and you have a first-time coordinator who doesn't know what he's doing. All in one sequence, and that's what cost them the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, you saw in about 4 plays all of the issues that are going to face the Houston Texans on offense this year until they get some semblance of one of those things improving. Either C.J. Stroud's going to be a heck of a lot more accurate, and to your point, Joe Burrow is tremendous for what he has around him up front. I know he's got those receivers, but he's not been broken by the Bengals offensive line. He physically kind of has because he's hurt again. But like his play at quarterback, that's not easy to do, to get hit, to be running for your life, to see ghosts so much and still deliver accurate passes. That's where C.J. Stroud is at this point. I feel vindicated. We feel vindicated because I think we were pretty down on Houston this offseason. This was why. This game was exactly why. I just don't think the Texans are going to run away with this division.
Yep, I don't think so either. Remember, you asked, did they get better or they get worse? I felt like we both said they got worse.
On offense, they got worse.
Yes, that was an exercise we did this summer.
At least for right now.
Yes, but I to be honest with you, other than like knowing that Nick Chubb can be that good, knowing that, hey, like at any point in time, he can really break a defense if given the opportunity, but they can't move bodies around the way you need them to. Right? Like, that's the issue that they're having up front. And then when they do allow you to run the football, I think if it wasn't for the tight red zone, I'm not sure if that ball scores right there from Nick Chubb. Meaning, if it's not close to the end zone, then they're probably not going to score on the ground the way they did. And they want to see if his offensive line can protect for him, because more than likely you're going to flush him out and he's going to make an inaccurate pass down the field, C.J. Stroud that is, or you're going to be in a position where they sack him. Like when your home crowd starts to boo you because you can't operate the offense efficiently, you got a long season. We're talking about this week 2 right now. You mentioned like Joe Burrow still been able to function in the pocket. That is, one, speaks highly of him. That's nerves of steel. But what it does to quarterbacks, especially young ones like C.J. Stroud that have experienced some success, it makes them more frustrated. It probably makes them asking for more demands. And the other part is, it's almost like seeing an abused like puppy. You know what I'm saying? For people like that have rescued those types of dogs, how jumpy they are. Like, he's jumpy in the pocket. His will to want to stay in the pocket is low. Like, his fight or flight is more flight than it is fight for him to sit there and try to make plays for his defense, because, again, either I'm being grabbed, either I'm being flushed out, or either I'm being hit in the pocket often. C.J. Stroud's going to get to a point where he becomes jumpy in the pocket.
Yeah,
He's not used to that.
He's getting to that point now.
Yeah.
100%.
And you can't make smart decisions when you do that type of stuff.
That is why the conversation we're going to have at 7:20 this morning is so critical for the Titans, is how do you avoid putting Cam Ward in that situation to where he's getting so much and running for his life so much that he is unwilling to stand in the pocket and go to his second reads as much as he needs to.
Yeah.
Aaron Wilson tweeting this out last night. Head coach D'Amico Ryans on C.J. Stroud was asked about, I think, the accuracy, just asked about what didn't work for the offense. He said, I have to look at the film, which is a great cop-out answer to it was really bad, but I don't want to roast him yet until I know for sure. Obviously, we go to an offense. It's a collective effort. We go 2 for 9 on third down. What do we expect? Aaron Wilson says, if we can't get the ball in at the goal line, what do we expect is going to happen? D'Amico Ryans says, everybody on offense has to make plays. Defense, we got to make a play out there. We had multiple opportunities at the end of the game to close it out. We got to tackle better, got to make plays. No magic secret or any secret sauce. We got to stand up and make plays. If you want to be a big-time player in this league, you got to show up and make plays.
That's his way of calling his guys out right there.
It is, and it goes back to what we talked about with Brent Hubbs about the Vols' red zone issues last year. When you get that condensed, it's just really my guy against your guy. Brian Callahan said it yesterday. We started getting the low red zone, and sometimes, it's just backyard football. And that's what makes great quarterbacks great and bad quarterbacks just kind of mediocre or bad, is when the field gets condensed and the pressure's on and you have to make plays. Some guys do, some guys don't. C.J. Stroud looks like a guy that doesn't. He looks like a guy that, for whatever reason, isn't rising to the occasion right now.
You remember my frustration yesterday at Two Rivers, where I was just like, sometimes it's on the guys. Like, where you got to have it in you that I'm not going to get beat like that. There needs to be a way to measure and look into what guys are as players in college before you take them in, or free agents for that matter too. Because I like to say, like, some people have that tough gene in them, and some people have to be uplifted to make themselves tough too. I'm not sure how you mix and blend it with the team, but you do have to have guys that believe I'm going to beat you more than you beat me. And it is such a psychological pathway into coaching that I don't know if many coaches look at that anymore, because they see guys be great athletes. They see guys that have the tools and the intangibles to make them who they are as a person on a piece of paper. But when you put guys in pressurized moments like that, who are you? What is your team? Like D'Amico Ryan saying that, it makes me ask also, what did you do as a coach to either craft that mindset to make them better? Like, what was your training camp like? Did you put them under duress more times than not in training camp before the season hit? Like, these are the types of things that have to happen, because I do believe that a team can take on a new personality based upon what you want it to look like. But you also have to be uncomfortable as a coach. There are those moments, too, to where you say they're going to have 5 bad days in a row, and it's okay. So, again, nobody's crying for what Houston has going on right now, but you do look at it as far as the league goes, and you say that is what we think in C.J. Stroud, a good young talent. And you like to see good talent in the league. It's a matter of how do you keep that, and that does come down to management. And you mentioned it earlier, losing or trading Laramie Tunsil away.
Yeah, it's just not something you do when you're trying to actively win a Super Bowl.
In the prime.
I mean, and everyone's trying to win the Super Bowl, but they're in a window to do so. I feel like they got a pretty good shot at competing.
And they had a body that was one of the best.
I mean, they tried to kind of reload and compete at the same time. Not smart. Mess around like that, and somebody in your own division is going to come up and get you that you don't expect. And right now, Indy looks like the prime candidate.
Yeah, I was going to say real quick, too, like the imbalance of offense and defense, too. You can't have it slanted way one way versus the other. And they have that right now when you got to Indy. Indy looks balanced, offensively and defensively.
I know. Well, we mentioned it. Joe Burrow is out again. 3 months for him, according to Adam Schefter yesterday, as we go through the NFL headlines to kick off the morning. Since drafting Joe Burrow in 2020, the Bengals are 2 games under 500 and have averaged fewer than 20 points in 14 games without him starting. We were talking about this a little bit yesterday. No one ever deserves to get hurt.
No.
Don't hear me when I say this is a personal thing that I'm in no means celebrating any of this, but play stupid games, win stupid prizes. When you consistently have offensive line issues in front of your most valuable commodity of your entire franchise, this is what happens. You pay the price. And 3 months of a toe injury and surgery now for Joe Burrow is added to a long list of extended injuries for him, and they're not his fault. Torn ACL and MCL in 2020, missed 6 games. Dislocated pinky in 21. Sprained his MCL in the Super Bowl. Played through a calf injury in 2023. Wrist injury in 2023. He missed 7 games. And then now turf toe. He's out at least 3 months.
Surgery on the turf toe.
Yeah.
Like,
turf toe, again, is the classic. It is so much worse than you think injury.
Yes, it is. That's what I was going to say. Just to break that down to, like, if you think about a knee or one of the bigger shoulder, or you don't even neck, like some of these types of things, like they're big muscles. A pec, you can replay, like you can rehab that a whole lot better. For them to have to go into his foot, have a surgery, and put these muscles, these tendons back together, that is such a delicate rehab that, like, that's the reason my finger right now, my right hand is just lifted the way it is, because I was of the mindset, well, I just rather for it to just pull back a little bit instead of having it be straight and healthy, because the rehab is so tedious. And here's a guy that has to use his feet often that will have people clamoring around his legs again. And it's because your neglectful ways of not finding guys to surround him with, or an offense that allows him to be more efficient than it has been. Like that is, well, he might end up missing the entire year the way I see this surgery going.
I mean, if you're 3 months in and that team can't tread water without him and it's not competitive, then yeah, there's no point putting him in December if you're, 3-9, 3-10.
And we're talking about his feet.
Yeah.
Right? A toe, as a matter of fact. Like, I've had turf toe before, and it wasn't even extreme. The ability to push off, and you walking and you think you're fine, and then as soon as you start to run or push off of it, there's this, I'm talking about unbearable sting that comes along with it. It is by far one of the worst, like, injuries that you can have as a player, to have to use his feet the way he does. I couldn't imagine being in his position with the lack of protection that he has on that team and saying, yeah, I'm willing to go back out there later in the season.
This is yet another example of why Will Levis could have had a new home midseason.
This is true.
I mean, honestly, he chose to get the surgery right before the season started and get right. You could have been a Bengal, my guy.
Yeah.
Could have been a Raider already. I mean, I don't know if he would have been a starter ahead of Jake Browning, but, like, this is the opportunity you are afforded when you show up, do your work in preseason, continue to be a good teammate, be a good soldier, and then somebody gets hurt. Teams will overpay for quarterback help. It happens every single year. But he decided to get the surgery right before the season.
And that same surgery that Will could have had, I would say this probably could have been done after the season, because the one thing that he can't have is the reputation that he ended 24 with, which was bad, and then also have a year of not playing. I'm not sure, other than, to be fair to him, unless he was just in a lot of pain, discomfort, and this was the best thing that his doctors could have said. And the team doctors, I heard 2 different stories on that one, on how you get a second opinion, but that's neither here nor there. But guys have to have tape. You have to stay in it. There will be a new Will Levis next year. And the fact that he's not giving himself an opportunity this year is a little bit problematic. you got to have tape. And right now we're seeing numerous quarterbacks, even Jaden Daniels, that may have to miss a couple of games or two.
He is the other one who is day-to-day. Of course, Brock Purdy, who missed over the weekend. Mac Jones filled in very admirably in a San Francisco 49ers win over the New Orleans Saints. Dan Quinn saying yesterday that he is unsure if Jaden Daniels will play Sunday. Said he was injured scrambling away from Green Bay's Micah Parsons, which is still weird getting used to saying, on Thursday Night Football. If he can't go, it would be Marcus Mariota at quarterback for the Commanders against the Raiders.
He'll shine, too. I think Marcus is getting like $10 million a year to build back up.
Yeah, Marcus has got the dream job in the NFL.
Yes,
Wear a ball cap, be a good guy in the meeting room, and play a little bit of football.
About 4 games a
That's
year.
the American dream right there.
Listen, man, give me a ball cap. That's the one thing he only need to know on game day. Give me a ball cap and what kind of seeds he want, man. But Jaden Daniels better figure it out, too, as far as his ability to be in and out of pocket. I think they were saying at first it was a wrist situation. Now it's a knee also.
Sprained knee.
Sprained knee. They were saying the first week, like, that's the reason they ended up losing, because he had an issue that they weren't talking about. I think it was Schefter that tweeted that out. But either way, that is the drawback of a mobile quarterback, too, is the ability to stay healthy is the biggest drawback that you have in those moments, or protection.
In the Infinite Make Chat, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, Junior writes in and says, Levis was a product of the coaches around him.
You know what? I would agree with you if I didn't see Cam Ward almost throw the same type of Will Levis pass, but it was completed this past
to
weekend.
A wide open guy. Yeah. I don't think the coaches around Will Levis were telling him to frisbee pass the football to the Chicago Bears or to try to underhand like you're playing cornhole in the parking lot, shot put it to Tajay Spears and it goes to the jet. No. I mean, yes, did a new head coach and new play caller last season who was learning on the job contribute to Will Levis' struggles? Sure. Did a bad offensive line contribute to his struggles? Sure. The ultimate culprit of why Will Levis is not the starting quarterback of the Titans anymore is Will Levis.
What you cannot say is this. You can't say he wasn't given a fair opportunity.
No.
That's the thing about his situation.
Yeah, I mean, he was drifting into pass rushers all the time. So you can't also use he just got sacked all the time. He's had a bad O-line. Yeah, because he was like shuffling into them like he's doing the electric slide at a wedding.
Yeah.
Like, to the left. Take it back now, y'all. Literally just right into pass rushers. So,
hey, with that being said, we're also seeing another guy that's been given the same opportunity in Spencer Rattler. You know, like, it's fascinating watching that situation unfold, too. I know they're 0-2, but, that is a way worse team than I thought the Titans was last year. But on top of that, you say to yourself, he looks like he can actually spin the ball down the field.
Yeah, he can operate an offense.
He can operate an offense, man. Also, Joe Burrow, real quick, before we go any further, I was just like, I'm curious as to what they are.
Sure.
With him. In this 6 years now that he's been with them, 2-7-1, 10-6. That was his offensive comeback player of the year, or the comeback player of the year. 12-4. That was the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
10-6 was Super Bowl.
10-6 was Super Bowl. Then 12-4.
Yeah,
12-4 is where they were. 5-5 with him as a starter. 9-8, and then
you're going year by year.
Yeah, year by year. And this year they're 2-0. But that's Jake Browning's win this past weekend. What I'm getting at is this. That has been very mediocre for a guy that everybody in the entire football world feels like is quarterback one in some sentiments. I know Lamar's in that conversation most definitely. But when you look at what Joe Burrow is, he's a top 5 caliber guy. And you mean to tell me Cincinnati can't pull much more out of him or that team other than being mediocre at that point? Like, I know that, and the AFC is probably the toughest side of this thing according to the AFC and the NFC. But you're Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. He's got to be in the conversation. You got to be in this conversation, Zach Taylor.
615-737-1045. Brian Kelly issued an apology yesterday. Did he need to? For post-game comments he made on Saturday after his team beat Florida? We'll talk about it next.
It's Ramon and Will here for Window Nation, man. Whether you have old drafty windows or cheap builder grade ones, now is the best time to replace your windows. Protect your home ahead of the fall and winter weather, and it is right around the corner, too. So you can get replacement windows from Window Nation. You can get their top quality, energy efficient windows from a trusted company at a reasonable price, too. Window Nation knows. They know that replacing windows is an investment, and they want to make sure it's affordable to you, Will.
They absolutely do, Ramon, and you can save big this month by buying 2 windows and getting 2 for free. Yeah, Window Nation doesn't just give you the best service, the best products. They also give you the best deals. Make no payments for 2 years. You won't have to deal with monthly payments, a down payment, or interest until 2027. So save big this month. Buy 2 windows and you'll get 2 for free by calling 866-90Nation or going online to windownation.com. Hurry, the sale ends September 30th. Schedule a fast free estimate now with the pros at Window Nation. Online at windownation.com. Hey, it's Will Bowling. You just heard me talk about it. So let me tell you again. My new obsession is Daisy French onion dip. This stuff is absolutely terrific. It's my guilty pleasure during football season, eating dips with chips, wings, and veggies while watching the big game. And whether you're in a parking lot or a living room, this stuff is terrific. It is the perfect way to spice up your game day just a little bit. Daisy's come out with this delicious Daisy French onion dip and a Daisy ranch dip, and they are as delicious as a homemade dip. Made with real herbs and spices and other ingredients you'd find in your own kitchen. You need this in your life. You can dip it with those wings, any flavor wings. Each dip goes perfectly with them. Or pretzels, really good to dip in these. Chips, whether it's tortilla chips or kettle cooked chips, whatever you got, Daisy French onion dip will deliver. So go check it out. Bring it to your next tailgate or watch party this football season. Daisy French onion dip and Daisy ranch dip. You can find them at a grocery store near you. Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the opening hour of your Tuesday morning. Coming up today, Austin Price of Vquest at 8:20, Nick Suss of the Tennessean at 9:20. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045. There's an odd injury situation in Knoxville that Josh Heupel updated yesterday about David Sanders. The reason why the Tennessee five-star right tackle has not been playing to start the season. We'll get to that coming up at the top of the hour in 15 minutes. But, Ramon, yesterday Brian Kelly had to issue an apology at the beginning of his Monday press conference. LSU 20, Florida 10, and the LSU offense doesn't look great. Now, Brian Kelly says post-game in a impassioned speech that hey, we're just trying to win the game. You know, we're being conservative. We're not this and not that and all these things. How legit is that? Before we hear the audio of what Brian Kelly had to apologize for, should there be concern about how bad the LSU offense looks to start the season? Or is this just managing the game and, hey, they're doing what they need to do to win, not a big concern?
I think it's managing the game. I think it's also their opponents they've played to. I will personally give Brian Kelly and LSU a little grace. That first game of the season with Clemson, the defenses was nice. That was a hard game to go into week one. And I will say, I feel like we're moving the goalpost a little bit with him because he checks the box of winning a week one game on the road. So I give a clap for that one. This week 3 situation that he had with Florida needed it. They were going to come and punch, and they weren't going to lay down. I do look at that and say sometimes those games against teams that you feel like that you should just send to the woodshed, they don't happen like that. Billy Napier is fighting for his job right now. Florida has the prospects that you need defensively, offensively, and as a squad too. I look at that situation and say I'm pouring more onto Billy Napier than I am on him. Now, the concerns of the offense, women lie, men lie, and numbers don't. Like, they do have to get better. You have a potential first-round draft quarterback on your team right now with a lot of portal wide receivers and an offensive line that you feel like can be as good as historically LSU offensive lines are. It's a matter of fixing it and giving it time for me. So that's where I'm at on this. The criticism is fair because that's what you're presented with. I will say that is what you're presented with. I'm not mad at that. But they've had a couple of preseason highly rated teams that they've had to beat and have.
Garrett Nussmeier hurt with a torso injury, according to Brian Kelly, who told the media that he is hurt because he threw too much in preseason camp. I've never heard of that happening before.
No, I've heard of pitchers having an issue like that, not quarterbacks.
Said he's slowed a little bit with a torso injury, and he's fighting through it. He's getting better. He's not going to be able to shut it down until the bye week. Says come Saturday, he's good to go. We've limited him a little bit during the week because of the tightness he's had in his torso. Garrett Nussmeier against Florida, 15 of 27, 220, a touchdown and a pick. I think the issue with LSU is their ability to run the football consistently. 22 carries for 102 against Florida, but 51 of those were on one rush by Caden Durham. Mm-hmm. That's 21 rushes for 51 yards in the other part of their run game.
That's how he backed up his excuse or his tantrum at the report.
Yes, it is. So here it is. This is what Brian Kelly had to apologize for post-game. Is this fair or foul is what I want to know.
Brian in the back, I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
Brian Kelly postgame. He did apologize for that yesterday. Said Michael Cobble, the guy who asked the question, is a great reporter, and said they had a conversation and he will be better after the game.
That was good, Brian Kelly. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I honestly feel like he's still justified in trying to motivate his team and trying to speak to his team through the media there.
That was eye-opening, man. I didn't see it. Like, I don't want to say, yeah, he's excuse making for the lack of where they are. Now, what we don't know is how many like small injuries they have, the flow of the offense, how much can Garrett Nussmeier actually do for them, the cohesion of the offensive line, which we always speak about.
A lot of new starters there.
A lot of new starters. So that to me is him fighting against trashing his guys, I feel like, in the public. Like, no matter what, I got you guys back. That's the way I view that situation. Him calling them spoiled, that was across the line.
He crossed the line towards the end of it, to be honest with you.
That wasn't okay in that situation right there. He's fighting the pressure of trying to live up to what the fan base want. And I feel like he was pushing back at them. It's just like, look, did we win or did we not? And to be quite honest with you, winning is what matters. He's 100% correct. He 100% correct. But how he's winning the game is probably the pressure he's feeling of who else is on their schedule.
Yep.
He probably knows that this isn't going to fly against somebody else later in the year. So he's fighting that right now. Yeah, we just simply won the game. You drop in the polls for just simply winning games like that the way Texas did.
615-737-1045, our number. You'll hear from Josh Heupel updating the injury status of right tackle David Sanders coming up next.
Work. It's what we do. Part of who we are. There is joy in work. And no matter what size your business is, the dedicated commercial team at Two Rivers Ford will find the work trucks and vans that keep your business moving. And Two Rivers is the only dealer that offers a 90-day free fleet management program that can help you save money on every single mile. The Commercial Vehicle Center at Two Rivers Ford. We work for you.
It is 7 o'clock. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. In Titans news yesterday, defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons has signed a revised contract that gives him a $632,529 raise for 2025, which accounts for the 17th game check Simmons did not receive in his previous extension back in 2023. Today, offensive coordinator Nick Holt, special teams coordinator John Bones Fossil, and defensive coordinator Denard Wilson all will speak to the media this morning at 11 a.m. You can, of course, hear those pressers right here on 104.5 The Zone, courtesy of the Buck Rising Show. Monday Night Football doubleheader last night. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers improved to 2-0 as they beat the Houston Texans 20-19 after a Rashad White touchdown with 6 seconds to play, sealing the win for the Bucs. In the late game, the Los Angeles Chargers improved to 2-0 as they beat the Las Vegas Raiders 20-9, and they now sit atop the AFC West standings. And several key injuries after Week 2 in the NFL. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels was diagnosed with a sprained knee and is in doubt to play this week. Backup quarterback Marcus Mariota would get to start should Daniels not play Sunday against the Raiders. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy has a high ankle sprain, is expected to miss the next 2 to 4 weeks. Backup Carson Wentz is in line to get the start. Bears All-Pro cornerback Jalen Johnson is likely to miss the rest of the regular season with a groin injury that will require surgery. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Tuesday morning, live in studio on Ramon and Will. We are fueled by Scooters Coffee. And coming up in 20 minutes, we will address the Tennessee Titans offensive line issues. Look, we don't love the fact that the Titans in offensive line has been cursed like Defense Against the Dark Arts at Hogwarts. However, we do feel uniquely positioned with the 11-year NFL veteran who played on offensive lines in the NFL for over a decade to be the best show to pinpoint the problems and give you solutions. So we're going to do that. Coming up in 15 minutes, Ramon, taking a look at how the Titans, through their play calling and scheme, can help alleviate the issue that is just still the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Coming up here in 20 minutes. 615-737-1045, our number. We stream the show live for you on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. So Tennessee five-star tackle David Sanders has not yet made his collegiate debut. An injury that he picked up the week of the Syracuse game in Atlanta has kept him off the field. And yesterday, Josh Heupel addressed what's going on.
Yeah, mentally, I think anytime anybody in this game gets injured and isn't cleared to play, it's a tough battle mentally. You grow, you compete, you strain to get yourself prepared to go play, and he has certainly done that. And unique injury that doctors are uncertain. That's why he's kind of been day to day for a while here, and uncertain. It's not like a sprained ankle, and I say that meaning there's not a definitive timeline, and so he's been having to fight through that. Guy wants to be out there. It hurts him badly. Our football team, guys in his position room can see that. But he's been a good teammate too, and I think as a young guy, staying the course through something that's a little bit unknown is hard. He's done a good job with it. Just got to continue to do that, and hopefully our doctors clear him here at some point relatively quickly.
So it sounds like, Ramon, this is not a Josh Heupel decision. This is a medical decision.
Yeah,
on David Sanders.
I heard a little bit of that. I think there's been a little bit of reshuffling inside of the training room, doctors and staff and stuff like that too. Some doctors are easy to say, hey, yeah, you fine? You tough? What's your pain tolerance? Go. And some are a little bit more medical and will give you the real doctor's approach and preserve your career too. And you got to also understand this too. And this is me. I'm old school football. If I can, I do. It's the way I am. But you got to understand some people are just different like that also. They have teams around them. They look at the long term instead of the short term in these type of situations too. And they try to protect the asset more than I think we're used to. And that's nothing bad about his camp. That's nothing bad about the doctor's decisions. It's just that with change, you got to accept it, especially if you believe and trust those people too. Because the other part of this is they're an investment more than they have been in college sports. Players are. This is new for the coaches. It's the same way that you look at L'Jarius Sneed's situation professionally. Do you want them to go out there and you're in and out and there's instability? Or do you want them later in the season when it gets colder and you need them for the college football playoff scenario, right? Those are the things that you're balancing, I feel like, more than ever in college football. It is more professional than it ever has been. And I think these coaches got to approach it that way too. Even though I'll admit the first 2 weeks, the first game, I was just like, what? Put them out there. I would have gone.
Sure.
It ain't about me and how I feel and what I would have done. It's a totally different game than it ever has been now in college football.
It is, and I do think that Tennessee has the amount of depth to have the luxury of taking their time with David Sanders. We'll ask Austin Price about this at 8:20 this morning, our Vols insider who joins us every Tuesday. But how much better can this offensive line get, Ramon, with Jesse Perry playing his more natural position at guard and David Sanders slotting in at right tackle? And the other question I have for you is, the week he's cleared, does he just immediately go out there and start? Like, how do you get him back in the lineup, and how aggressive are you with his playing time once the doctors do give him the green light?
It's based upon him, David Sanders, that is. How much do you want? I don't know if it's going to be appropriate for him to start because, I mean, other than that false start, Sam Umarov has had the left guard has had a good showing at left guard. I will say that the offensive line has been very much intact. One sack, I think that's been given up by them.
I know they didn't have any until the Georgia game. I think it was either 1 or 2 in the Georgia game.
Yeah, so, I mean, they've been playing really, really good. And that's the part of it for me as a coach. It's a hard decision to make because Jesse Perry's been a fine right tackle. But I do look at his situation and think, boy, Jesse Perry and David Sanders Jr. beside each other. And also you put Wendell Moy back over at left guard. I feel like you get better. So I don't think he starts unless it's against a team that you feel like that you can play well against. But I'd probably say about 40 snaps just to throw him back in there. And then the following week, you probably do start him because, again, the check says he's supposed to start.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play 100% of the snaps when he is cleared, regardless of when he's cleared. There's got to be some kind of rotation to get him in and out.
Yeah.
Similarly to the way Tennessee cycled John Campbell in and out last year, and Dane Davis and all those guys. Dane Davis, who was at the school for like 8 years. But I do think with the offensive line, we've got to give credit to Glenn Ellerbe. Because Glenn Ellerbe takes a lot of heat. I think some of it is fair. Some of it is, most of it, let's be honest, most of the heat that Glenn Ellerbe gets is unfair.
Mm-hmm.
He has done a terrific job developing 2 transfers who've been there since winter, in Sam Pendleton and Wendell Moy, who you knew were good players coming in. They have come in right away and not missed a beat. Mm-hmm. And Jesse Perry it's unbelievable how much better he is, Ramon. I mean, gaining 40 to 50 pounds, being a single wing option offensive tackle at Middle Tennessee Christian down the road here, not knowing how to pass block, and then going out and pass blocking admirably against Georgia, against these teams so far. He's a redshirt freshman. Like, Jesse Perry is going to be a program guy who can start for you for years to come. You need program guys who are going to stick around and be 4-year starters. And that is what Tennessee is now entering on the offensive line. David Sanders, who's expected to be around for 3 years, then go to the league as what you think is probably a future first-round pick. Sam Pendleton, who's only a sophomore, after spending a couple of years at Notre Dame, now he's here. You have, obviously, Perry as well. I mean, that's 3 parts of your offensive line. That's 60% of your offensive line that you feel like is here to stay. Glenn Ellerbe, if those guys stick around and don't hit the portal, has laid the foundation for Tennessee to be really good on the offensive line for years to come and not have to play freshmen when they absolutely feel like they needed to this year.
Yep, 100%.
And I know that freshman's not playing yet because of the injury, but you start to build competitive depth like this and you start to put out redshirt sophomores and redshirt juniors and seniors year in and year out, you're going to win some games behind that offensive line. And it doesn't matter who you put behind him. You're going to get good quarterback play out of it as well.
He's fine. Glenn Ellerby, to your point, is finally getting to a point to where he's established what he wants his guys to look like.
He's built a foundation.
Yes, he has.
100%.
And that's super cool to me because I think Sam Pendleton had questions coming into it. Could he play center? Where were you going to play him? And he said, you know what? You already center. I'm putting you here. Like the matchup that they had or the setup that they had going into week one with Jesse playing right guard and Wendell Moore playing left, I think that's probably one of the best offensive lines in all of football, period. And it's all through the development of Coach Glenn Ellerby. The style in which they got to play with also. They're still able to run the football. The pass protection this year, knock on wood, has been really good. And you mentioned against that Georgia defense, like there were questions of what kind of technique that he was teaching them. I've sat in that line room with them a couple of times, actually. And the style that he's teaching is NFL style. His ability to understand and work with angles is cool with how he gets them to be a unit inside of that room too. They start off every meeting that I've seen, man, who's on the aux cord. Like they literally do that. And they play music in the background and have the room light. So to be quite honest with you, psychologically, he can talk bad to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that part of it to where he's opening the room for it to be inviting, but also being stern and hard on them and teaching them all the things they need to throughout the duration of the season. I think we're seeing that pay off right now. We got questions about Glenn Ellerby if he was a recruiter. He's shown that to be a part of everything that he's got going on. And I know NIL helps, yes, but it's also helping other places.
Sure.
You're closing in on guys that you weren't necessarily getting before.
Right.
And I think it's because the proof of concept that he can develop those guys. And I like it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I love to have seen more runs against Georgia, but it wasn't a running type of game, to be fair with you.
It wasn't, but I do admire the fact that Josh Heupel and Joey Halsley stuck with the run even when it wasn't working. The play calling and the operation of the offense as a whole, I feel like has taken a step forward this year.
Yeah.
Whatever those responsibilities look like between Heupel and Halsley, they've got a good give and take right now to set that offense up for success. Now, they got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Tennessee had to go to Ohio State last year because they slipped on the road again when they weren't supposed to against Arkansas. Mm-hmm. The level of consistency and the competitive DNA of who this team is and who that locker room is, you got to keep giving your best what you gave against Georgia in Starkville, in Lexington, at home against Arkansas, at home against Oklahoma, which could be a top 10 matchup come November when the Sooners come to town on November 1st. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you know what you're going to get in the big games. Like Josh Heupel is a good big game coach and has his guys ready for the Alabamas and Georgias and Florida's at home of the world. But there is legitimate optimism that this is a playoff team again if they keep putting on film what they did Saturday. But they got to go do that part. It's not just going to be handed to you just because you played well against Georgia. The expectations have risen for Tennessee. Now you got to be motivated to go keep doing that because you can't just live off of, hey, we almost beat Georgia. Like, no, take that effort and then improve upon it and then get healthy on defense and let's see what we got.
Oh.
615-737-1045 is our number. So Brian Callahan says that sacks are an offensive problem, not just an offensive line problem. Well, then what is the offensive solution to 11 sacks through 2 weeks? We'll get Ramon Foster's take on that next.
Synergex and Low T Center are the original MVPs of testosterone replacement therapy. They have been changing the lives of men across the country for over a decade. Since starting, a lot of other players have entered the field, but Synergex and Low T Center are the pros, providing you with the most medically driven, results-focused, and winning approach to restoring the quality of patients' lives through hormone care. Just talk to one of their patients and they will tell you TRT with Synergex and Low T Center have significantly changed their lives. So don't wait. Get into the center and get your test and you'll be wishing you did it sooner, to be honest with you, man. Guys, I've been telling you about your testosterone, like how much it affects you when you get older. You're more tired, not motivated to do anything. And it's not just aging. It's also the physical and mental changes to your body too. Testosterone can also help with that. Real patients tell them every single day how they got their energy back back. They're doing better than ever at work, and their wife and them, trust me, it is something that has affected all facets of their life, man, and how they are crushing it. It's something that you need to do. I always say we take care of the outside of our body with neglecting the inside. Go get your levels. Find out where you are and how much better that you can actually be, man. Book an appointment now with trtmvp.com. Again, the website is trtmvp.com, and make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop. Right now at Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases, and here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. Imagine lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. Don't let high rates hold you back. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com right now. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's Ramon Foster for All American Pest Control, man. Hear me out. All American Pest Control, they are family owned and proudly local. They've been serving Middle Tennessee for over 60 years. But guess what also? Fall pests are here. The stink bug, box elder bugs, Asian lady beetles try to invade homes every single fall. I won't lie to you. I absolutely despise stink bugs, man. You kill them, step on them, guess what? They say the smell attracts other stink bugs and you can't get them out of your house. Don't wait until they're crawling on your walls or freaking out your kids. Go ahead now and get the Complete Care Max program from All American Pest Control, where you can bundle mosquito control, pest control, yard treatments, and termite protection with Centricon. Your service 8 times a year. You get free reservice if a pest does come back in while on the plan, or you can mix and match a lot that's going on with the plan too. There are no hidden fees or pushy sales. Honestly, just a peace of mind. Their technicians also show up on time and with a smile. Some of the best people I've worked with when we're talking about getting the pests out of your home. So protect your home and family. Reach out to All American Pest Control. You can visit their website at yuckbugs.com. That's yuckbugs.com.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, at 104.5 The Zone, Tuesday morning in Middle Tennessee. Hope you're having a good start to your day. Stream it live at 104.5 The Zone TV. Our faces for radio are on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We are over 17,000 subscribers strong on the 104.5 The Zone YouTube channel. I would love, Ramon, to get to 20,000 before the end of the football season.
I think we can.
20,000.
And as the way this Titans season is going to turn around, everybody's going to want to subscribe.
That's right.
Easily.
Let's do it.
Want to be a part of something nice here. Do it now.
It is free, and every time we say this, someone will comment and be like, oh, I had no idea I wasn't subscribed. So just do us a favor. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button while you are there. Leave us a comment. 104.5 The Zone TV. F&M Bank Chat open. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. So Brian Callahan says that sacks are an offensive problem, not just an offensive line problem. This was the Titans head coach speaking with the media yesterday.
I know, again, we've been down this road, I think, before, and I don't mean to be dismissive of your question, but I think that, as I've said a million times, that sacks are an offensive problem. They're not an offensive line problem. Felt like a handful of our sacks were avoidable. One of the sacks is Cam running out of the pocket and taking a 2-yard loss, outside the pocket, which isn't an offensive line thing. I think a lot gets made of sacks being an offensive line stat. And while I'm not dismissing the fact that we got to play better up front. That's certainly not the case. But the sack thing is an entire equal parts problem. We've had 2 or 3 pressures and sacks come off of some running back protection things. It's not just them. And so, yeah, the number in and of itself is concerning. Don't like that number. Don't want to have that. That's not going to help us win any football games. But I do think there's an extra onus that gets put on our offensive line based on what's happened here before and how it's looked, that the sacks are all on them. There's 11 sacks, and oh my God, that looks terrible. I think it's a little more nuanced than that, and I think there's more things that can be done to help from quarterback perspective, from receiver perspective, from running back perspective. So it's an everybody issue that we don't just pin the blame on them. We got to be better everywhere on offense, I think, for that number to improve.
Would you like to see Cam maybe run a little bit more, when he has a chance to either take a check down or take off, because might add an extra element to the game? Yeah,
I think Cam's a really good pocket mover. I think he's got great feel. I think he's learning more and more about how these NFL pockets feel, and the duress that you get put under. And he's made some really good plays with his feet. That touchdown throw was an example of it. The difference between him and some other quarterbacks is that when he escapes the pocket, he's looking for plays in the passing game, and that's what's going to end up making a lot of plays over time. Is his eyes are always downfield, and there's some spots where he could run and maybe pick up a couple more yards, and I think he will as the year goes on. He'll understand where the 4 or 5 yards might actually help us more than a deep attempt that goes incomplete. But that's just things that he's learning and working through as we go. And I love his mentality when he does get out of the pocket, because that's where the big plays in this league happen, is when you break contain and your eyes are downfield and you're looking for potential explosive plays.
So that is Titans head coach Brian Callahan speaking with the media yesterday. Let's start here, Ramon.
Yeah.
In the moments where you guys had bad weeks or bad months as a Steelers offensive line, and again, you guys had a lot of good players and you were a good player. So it rarely got to this point where you were giving up 11 sacks in 2 weeks, for context. But in games where you feel like you guys struggled, what was the process of fixing it? How much can Brian Callahan and this staff do to take some pressure off of an offensive line that is not performing as well as it needs to right now?
I would say call a game that keeps them on script. Even if you are 3 and out in it, at least find rhythm in the things that you want to do for the entirety of the game is where I'm at. Like, it's okay to have 3 and outs and play the field position. He mentioned something, and there's like rookie quarterbacks always want to feast, and that's part of the problem too. Cam said it. The quote he had that people are using it, I always want to go deep. Like, that's a problem. It really is. You're not afforded that time, because the other part of it for me is wide receivers got to get open. Tight ends got to be in their places where you need them to sit down. The flow of not abandoning the pocket has a play in it too. But the first thing that you need to do is call plays that you know are cupcakes. Get you on schedule. Get a rhythm. Even if it's, 5 plays and then you got a punt. You've changed the field position. You trusted defense. There's that component of it that I've seen us do often is catch a flow. It's hard to have a protection, or it's hard to have solid protection if you can't keep the defense on his heels. That's the problem. And again, Coach mentioned the running backs. He mentioned the tight ends, the quarterback, all play a part in it too. One of those sacks, too, Cam stepped out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. That also counts as a sack. And that was him aborting the pocket in those moments too. I will say the only person that he left out in his explanation of who contributes to the sacks was himself. Play calling does play a part in it.
So how much of this can be impacted by play calling? What can Brian Callahan do to take pressure off of the offensive line? And do you feel like he did enough to help his offensive line against the LA Rams?
I think he was trying too early by establishing a run. Tony Pollard was running the ball. I felt the offensive line, if you go back and look at them, they were moving the line of scrimmage often. But you have penalties that happen that sets you back. Now you got to go in a passing situation. What can he do to help them moving forward? It is short screen game, middle screens, getting the ball out quick. And here's the thing. There's so much more context to be added in situations that people don't want to hear when they're mad. Everything that I'm asking him to do, if you close your eyes and reflect on that game, he did try to do.
Rolled the pocket, the screens to the outside, which he called run solutions. Like it's an extension of the run game.
That right there used to tick me off as a player. It's like, why are you throwing out to the wide receiver and we're out here breaking our backs to try to open up lanes for you? It's because there's more space out there.
And you have numbers. So if you've got two DBs and two blockers on the outside and you have an unaccounted for receiver, that's an RPO where Cam is going to pull it and sidearm like a shortstop, that football to the outside. Now, they did that, but you have to be able to block 2-on-2, and they can't. But also, Ramon, here's the other part of this. Brian Callahan said this yesterday. With the offensive pass interference rules of the NFL, you've got to let that DB come to you because that ball's got to be completed behind the line of scrimmage, and you've got to sit there and wait at the line of scrimmage as well within that 2-yard zone as well, like offensive linemen do on an ineligible player downfield. Yep. Otherwise, it's OPI. And then again, we're talking about, well, why are the Titans penalized so much? So it is a catch-22 of, yes, you are getting run solutions to the outside, but those plays are harder to execute in the NFL based off of how they flag offensive pass interference than I think of what we believe in college.
And the other part of it is the DBs are playing closer to your wide receivers because to be quite honest with you, they don't think your wide receivers can beat them. It's that side of it, too. They're quicker to jump on those balls or be there quicker because they're not playing off coverage as much as you like them to. Right. The point to be made is this. We knew on a scale of 1 to 10, the wide receiver talent that this team has is not at a 10. I don't know where it is, but it's not at a 10 to where you feel fearful of them out there. And then when you have that type of situation, we said this too, like I like where the wide receiver group is because there's more of what you have. There's more of the middle class, but it's not elite. And the way they got attacked this past weekend against a secondary of the LA Rams, I guess was an indicator of how teams feel about you. To your point, they attacked those wide receiver screens quickly. Guys were getting pushed back that shouldn't. Now, I'll put that on the player. I do have to give credit to Coach Brian Callahan and say this. He's attempting to call a script or plays that is setting them up for success. But if he throws a quick screen out and it's -2 because your wide receiver is getting bodied or you don't block your guy the way you need to or you don't have enough strain to free up the guy catching the football, is that a Callahan issue or is this a personnel issue? That's personnel. It's personnel all day long. You look at the way they ran the ball on first and second down situations. The ball was positive. Tony Pollard almost had 100 yards. I know, but some people say, well, of course he's supposed to have 100 yards. Nobody else is doing anything. But that's the point. They are moving the ball.
You should be able to pass effectively and move the ball effectively when you have a nearly 100-yard rusher.
Yes, you should.
Yeah.
The sacks don't help. But the other part is, if you want to play like Cam Ward did in college, that also means Cam's going to hold on to the ball. That clock ticks. Byron Young, Jared Verse, this upcoming week is not going to be easy to do those types of things. Now, using their rush against them is something that Coach Brian Callahan can do moving forward. Hey, dump it off. You need more screens. You need a different variation of getting the ball out. How about 3-yard stops? Just get the ball out. Get a flow. Get a first down and go that direction. Those are the things you have to do. He has to adjust to what his guys have shown him also. But his guys offensively got to help him too. Cam, I felt like, was better delivering the football this week. I don't think he had many overthrows other than throwing the football away to where it weren't catchable balls. He was on schedule at times where you saw him drop back 1, 2, 3, and it was out.
Right.
I will give him that. But to say that the offensive line has been trash, it ain't been great. But here's the other part of it, too. The guy that everybody said was bad, for who people like to use when it comes down to the positivity, PFF, actually said he had the best game of all the guys on the line.
Second best.
Second best behind P.
Pro Football Focus had Dan Moore rated as a 60.1, allowing 2 pressures and 1 sack. That was to the rookie. He got a holding call on that sack as well.
Yes.
And Peter Skoronski was the highest graded player. Skoronski, again, it feels like we should be talking about the other 4 members of the line because Peter's been terrific.
He's been real good.
Peter has turned into what you hoped he would by year 3. Ramon stands on the table all the time to say year 3 for a lineman, year 3 for a lineman, year 3 for a lineman. It's 2 weeks. It's very early, but so far so good for Peter Skoronski in year 3.
His technique is so good. His anchor is so good right now.
100%. I think there are 2 things at play that are going to help this offensive line. First one's simpler than the second. The first one is Lloyd Cushenberry is not himself yet. That was to be expected. Mm-hmm. He returned really quickly off of a torn Achilles. Pro Football Focus gave Lloyd Cushenberry a 31.7. Now, the grade is secondary to what the pressures are to me. 4 pressures allowed, 1 sack allowed. That's not Lloyd Cushenberry. Lloyd Cushenberry, when healthy, is one of the better centers in this league. I think there is reason to believe that he will get back there, but it's just going to take some time. Mm-hmm. And that has nothing to do with Brian Callahan. That has nothing to do with anything other than that's just what happens when a guy's coming off of a gruesome injury that he did. So that's first. Secondly, I think Cam is missing some checkdowns. And Brian Callahan mentioned that. That is going to take some of the pressure off of this offensive line for Cam to find Chimere Dike on 3rd and 7 in the flat open to move the chains. It's the first third down of the game. Cam scrambles and gets 2 yards and tries to run for it. He's got DK open. He's not getting to his second read enough. And I'm not trying to be overly critical of Cam. That's to be expected for a rookie quarterback who's played 2 football games against really good defenses. That's not a play calling issue. That's not an offensive line issue. There are moments where Cam Ward is going to hold the ball too long. Now, that being said, you're okay living with some of those because then he'll do what he did to Ellick or with Ellick in the end zone for the touchdown. You're okay with the growing pains of Cam not knowing when to hold it and try to create and when to just let it fly and try to get the ball out. Situational awareness is critical for Cam Ward. Understanding when I can create and when I've just got to get rid of it and find my secondary read. Brian Callahan talked about this yesterday. Here's Callahan talking about Cam being a hunter.
Just awareness of the play and of the coverage structure, just understanding that he's a bit of a hunter. He likes to go looking for big plays, and I think that's pretty normal for some of these guys coming out of college these days. That's how they play at that level. And it's different because the rushes are different and the caliber of coverage player is different. But at this level, you have to be a little bit more strategic in when and where and how. And those are things that he's learning. There's answers baked into a lot of plays for the quicker throw, for a man coverage beater. It doesn't necessarily always have to be down the field. And those are things that Cam is learning every time he goes out there. But those some opportunities that are good teachable moments for him when it comes to understanding the structure of the play and where his answers are versus particular coverages.
So that's Brian Callahan yesterday. Ramon, do you think they can move the pocket more, or do you feel like they're already doing that enough?
I think they're already doing it enough.
I agree.
That's just not connecting.
Because you also take a risk in moving the pocket that if one of those guys gets unblocked on the edge and they set an extra blitz either from the secondary or off the edge that you haven't accounted for, you're flattened.
Yep.
And that's an easy way to get your quarterback hurt and hit quickly where you have no chance to create.
The late hits happen right there. Or he gets hit too. I mean, and then also, that's not a proper way to live as an offense.
Always having to move the pocket?
Always having to move the pocket.
Right.
I will say they have to win the one-on-ones, but I'll even add to it. the wide receivers have to win their one-on-ones. If we're projecting next year's draft pick, it ain't draft season. I think it's smart to put wide receiver up at number one.
Wide receiver or edge rusher, they're both going to have to be addressed next season in a big way.
100%.
Yeah.
Because who's actually winning it the way you need them to? We're watching the Mecca Buka last night, right? With Tampa Bay. Win in situations where he's friendly to Baker Mayfield and he's winning. He's understanding where he needs to be at. And I don't know if this team has the talent that you need to have those type of plays be made currently. We see what it looked like when he's on schedule, catching Calvin across the middle, down the sideline, the back shoulder phase that he's throwing to Elikai Maynard. Like, there's a lot of that's happening. But you got to find guys that can simply beat their guys away, what we saw Devontae Adams do this past weekend. Like, that's a part of it that does this team have that guy? No.
And so far, I've been surprised how much Calvin Ridley's been involved in the offense. I get Pat Surtain's going against you in week one. I thought he would have a bigger bounce back on Sunday.
I did too.
Now, some of that is a credit to Elikai Manor for taking advantage of his opportunities. And when you make the one-handed catch that he did in the red zone, you're going to keep getting more footballs thrown your way. But that's the frustrating part right now, Ramon, for Titans fans, is I think a lot of the O-line issues are a little out of Brian Callahan and this coaching staff's control and comes down to, can you block extensions of the run game and the screen game to set those up when they're there to be had? And can Cam find the moments to create or get the ball out more quickly? Now, there are issues on this offensive line. Again, I admitted it to start this. Lloyd Cushenberry's not himself right now. Dan Moore is losing some of his one-on-ones. John Ojukwu was credited with 2 sacks over the weekend. That's a backup lineman being in there. I'm not trying to build in excuses for the coaching staff. I'm trying to legitimately break down why these issues are happening. And Ramon, it doesn't feel like it is as simple as, oh, the play calling stinks. I know you guys want something easy to place blame on right now. This was always going to be a work in progress for the offense against 2 of the best defenses in the NFL. It just was. Now, the positive, I think there are plays to be made against the Colts. I think this is a winnable game that you're playing on Sunday. The first 2 are winnable as well because you were in them, obviously. You just kind of wilted at the end. But it's not always going to be like this. At some point, they are going to have to come correct and make changes on this offensive line. I just think through 2 weeks, it's why you don't fire anybody. It's why the seat can't get blazing hot for anyone at this point. You have a rookie quarterback that's not seeing his checkdowns. You have an offensive line that's not worked together. You have a center coming off of a torn Achilles. And you've got screen games that are open and just need to be blocked properly. It's more nuanced than just the coach can't figure out how to scheme for this offensive line. I don't think that's fair criticism.
Do we have a designation also on Kevin Zeitler?
We will get that Wednesday.
Okay.
We'll get it tomorrow.
All right.
615-737-1045. There was one key area where Cam Ward improved from week 1 to week 2. Something he really struggled at in Denver that got a lot better. That's a little bit of positivity for you on Cam in the passing game, and I'll tell you what that is coming up next. Tuesday mornings, Ramon and Will wrapping up hour 2 on 104.5 The Zone. We're fueled, as always, by Scooters Coffee. We love our friends at Scooters. We love having partners of the show who we legitimately love their products and their business. We love Scooters Coffee.
Yeah, we do.
The breakfast blend is so good. Yesterday, the pumpkin caramel cold coffees that we had hit the spot.
Yes, they did.
The waffle breakfast sandwiches. We're not just telling you to go there because they're our partners and they have gotten in the boat on the title sponsor. We legitimately love Scooters Coffee. Absolutely terrific.
I'm actually telling them to go.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm telling
I have
them.
conversations with people off here all the time like, no, you guys don't understand. It's so good. Genuinely so good. Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet, where you check them out. Ramon, there was one area where I thought Cam Ward statistically made major improvements from week 1 to week 2.
What you got?
In week 1 against the Denver Broncos, when blitzed, Cam Ward was 0 for 6 and took 4 sacks. Last week, 4 of 7, 46 yards, 77.1 quarterback rating against the blitz. He had nowhere to go but up, but he did go up.
Yeah, he did.
From week 1 to week 2. And a lot of that had to do with being decisive on scrambling and when to get out of the pocket. Ramon, I remember talking about him in the draft process. That's the thing that stood out on film when you watched him at Miami. It wasn't the creation off script and the amount of that happened that was the problem. It was when he was indecisive about moving around in the pocket. When he's decisive and says, crap, I got to run, like that, good things happen.
Yeah.
It's when he sits there for 3 seconds, then gets happy feet, and then starts to run around is when the issues happen. I thought he was much better against the blitz from week 1 to week 2.
He's learning, I hope he continues to learn that these big dudes that play in the NFL are faster. That they understand angles a little bit better, too. As I said before, they had him dead to rights on the sideline. One time he escaped out of it. That's not everyday living for him. But to your point about him being better against the blitz, I used to love the blitz. I'll be honest with you. It sucks, like, getting hit in the face like that. But when you got a quarterback that understands where the pressure is coming from, it's positive almost every single time because there's voids missing right there. Now, the understandings from the wide receivers, from what they're seeing, the tight ends from what they're saying, and can Cam diagnose the pre-snap pressure moments right there, that is something that you can absolutely feast. That's one way, Will, I will say, that helps keep the defense honest. If you send the house to me because you feel like I'm a young, inexperienced quarterback and my offensive line has its problems, those wide receivers and quarterback have to hit their spots and know, and eyes on him in those moments right there. That's where those back shoulder fades happen, or you'll find a tight end down the seam because there's a void in the session because, listen, they can't send everybody. Somebody has to drop back into their zones and into their coverage. Because of that, you got to find that sweet spot of knowing where the ball is going. That's a skill issue right there. The blitz exposes a lot, especially if they can't get home or your running backs are going to cut the heck out of the safety or linebacker coming up the middle or the side, at that matter.
According to Next Gen Stats, Cam Ward against zone coverage in week 2 against the LA Rams completed 18 of his 27 attempts for 169 and a touchdown. Against man coverage, Ramon, Cam Ward was 1 of 6 for 6 yards.
What does that tell you?
Lack of separation.
Guys can't win. That also tells you he might have to hold on to the ball. And then holding on to the ball, there's pressure in his face.
And that's why you got 11 sacks in 2 weeks.
And that's why there's
one
a lot
of the
pressure.
many reasons.
Nobody wants to hear from the big dudes about, hey, it ain't us. Your job is to protect. Man, listen, my back can only hold up for so long, okay? It's only so long I can hold this guy that runs a 4.7 from getting to the edge and me getting a holding call.
Yeah, that's why box score scouting sacks allowed on Pro Football Focus is not as easy as we think it is.
Now, losing quickly as John Ojukwu did.
And Dan Moore.
On those first.
Like the offensive line can play better.
You can.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, but those dudes get checks too.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, like I said, it's hard judging and finding offensive linemen that have the mindset to, I'm going to screw you over before you get me.
Right.
It's hard finding that. Sometimes you got to see it through failure.
Well, and again, too, like when you can't block 4 with 5, there's not a lot that a play caller can do when your 5 are getting beat by 4 as quickly as they are. Mm-hmm. If you want another example of that in a different uniform with a different play caller under the headset, watch the Houston Texans and Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night. Watch the Chiefs play the Eagles. Chiefs who are 0-2. Now, Chiefs have played really good opponents as well. But again, like, there's only so much play callers can do to alleviate that pressure. I thought Brian Callahan had a solid enough game plan for that offense to move the ball against the Rams. I didn't think there was a major play calling issue in week 2. Mm-hmm. There were play calling issues in week 1. There were game management issues in week 1. There were undoubtedly mistakes that Brian Callahan made in week 1. I thought he got better from week 1 to week 2. It's hard to say anything really worked that well when you score 19 points and you turn it over where you did and you lose a football game by 2 scores. I get it. But 21 players who were active for week 18 last year were active for week 1 this year. 21 players on the 53-man roster. You guys don't want to hear it. I understand it. We are taking our NyQuil right now, the liquid kind, not the capsules. We are taking our cough medicine right now. It's just going to take some time. And you've got a winnable game on Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. You've got the month of November, Ramon, where this team doesn't leave Nashville. We said that all offseason. I'm not moving the goalpost today. We're being positive about this, probably more so than others, but we've been consistent, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
This team was always going to have to get better after having some growing pains at the beginning of the season. And if your expectations were beyond what you've seen so far, that's as much of an expectation problem as it is a Titans haven't met the bar problem. Where did you put the bar is the follow-up question.
It's comical right there. The only reason I say it's comical because I think everybody thought Cam Ward was going to come in here with a Superman cape on.
He's not Jaden Daniels. And Brian Callahan's not Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
And Nick Holtz is not Cliff Kingsbury. This is not the Washington Commanders of 2024. It's just not. It was never going to be. We told people this all offseason, Ramon.
Yeah.
Now, you never know. Like, they could still get hot, and this could be a fun year. I don't know. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. Mm-hmm. But if the Titans haven't met your expectations through 2 weeks, you need to reevaluate where your expectations were.
Can I be the offensive guy and throw a little blame on the defense, too?
Go for it.
If you don't give up that Puka Nacua jet sweep on that 4th and 1, the score going into halftime without it being any other situation is 13-3. Titans. Let's just add that 4th down run put you in a position where I felt like you had a little bit more pressure on you. It changed the script just a little bit more than you wanted it to in those moments. And I know the defense has been playing lights out and getting turnovers and doing everything you want them to do. Yeah, right. Special teams has also. That's another situation that you had.
There was a play to be made there.
Yes, and say what you want to. That was the rule, and Cedric Gray broke it. He did. Listen, the referee had to be looking for that too, and he found it. But it's 13-3 going into the half Titans if you stop them on 4th and 1. And that was a touchdown on top of it. Have your head up and see the guy coming around. Like, you can't – I say you can't miss that one. I know guys miss tackles all the time, but you can't miss that one.
Yeah. We'll get to Matthew and Franklin coming up next. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045, plus a conversation, Ramon, I'm not going to enjoy. I'm going to sell some stock when we come back on 1045 The Zone. Maybe you've been thinking about moving, upgrading, relocating to a different area of Nashville, and you can feel the headache. Literally the migraine that comes with, how are we going to sell this house? How are we going to find something within our price range in a neighborhood that we want to be in, the schools we want, all of these things, the expertise that comes with a local market, it is paramount. It's critical. And Bernie Gallerani will do that for you. Bernie Gallerani Realty, the best of the best when it comes to relocating. Bernie is the only Nashville real estate agent that's been personally endorsed by Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank. And Bernie's got the 30-day guarantee because he guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. No risk to you. Bernie will let you out of the contract at any time. He is the real estate agent with the 30-day guarantee. So let him go to work for you and see what you can get for your home. Head to BernieGallerani.com. Right at the top of the homepage, click on how much is your home really worth. You can enter your address, have that answer in only 30 seconds. The local knowledge, the website that's great, and the work ethic that Bernie's going to put for you. He is the best of the best. Call him personally on his cell phone, 615-428-2644, or go online at BernieGallerani.com. Again, if you're looking to relocate, Bernie is your guy. Call him at 615-428-2644, online at BernieGallerani.com.
It is 8:02. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. In Titans news yesterday, defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons signed a revised contract that gave him a $632,529 raise for 2025, which counts for the 17th game check Simmons missed out on in his previous extension back in 2023. Today, offensive coordinator Nick Holt, special teams coordinator John Bones Fossil, and defensive coordinator Denard Wilson will speak to the media this morning at 11 a.m. You can, of course, hear those pressers right here on 104.5 The Zone, courtesy of the Buck Rising Show. Last night, a Monday Night Football doubleheader, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers improved to 2-0 as they beat the Houston Texans 20-19 after a Rashad White touchdown with 6 seconds to play, sealing the win for the Bucs. In the late game, the Los Angeles Chargers improved to 2-0 as they beat the Las Vegas Raiders in an AFC West showdown 20-9, and they now sit atop the AFC West standings. Tonight, Nashville SC returns to the pitch as they host the Philadelphia Union for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup semifinal at Geodis Park. This is the first time the boys in gold have made the semifinals in the U.S. Open Cup. The Union side are the top team in MLS competition in 2025 thus far, but Nashville have won both of their meetings in the regular season. First kick tonight is at 7 p.m. Central, and the game is broadcasted on the CBS Sports Network as well as Paramount Plus. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 3 of the program on this Tuesday morning. Ramon and Will live on your radios, your smart devices, as well as the 104.5 The Zone app. We're fueled by Scooter's Coffee. We're switching from breakfast blend to start the show. Now we got French vanilla brewing up over in the kitchen. You can visit a locally owned location near you. Get the flavored blend of the day. Get yourself a cold latte. Maybe you're a hot chocolate person. Maybe you want a protein smoothie or a flavored Red Bull. Whatever you want to start your day, they've got it for you. Yeah, food, drinks, hot, cold, protein, caffeine, all of it.
All the ings.
Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Going to talk about some college football here in hour 3. Austin Price joins us in 15 minutes. But let's go to the phones, where Matthew in Franklin wants to talk some Titans this morning. What's up, Matthew?
Good morning, gentlemen. I'd like overall. I agree with everything you said. In experience, we were the worst team, blah, blah, blah. What it comes down to is a lack of discipline. If you look at all the great athletes, be it Larry Bird, hits for 3 hours, or a punter that punts for 3 hours after practice, have pride in your craft and be disciplined. Don't jump off sides. Don't make dumb mistakes. That's what I think one of the keys is. We're not disciplined. They just don't have it.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. It's hard to argue. I mean, I have no argument against it. That their lack of discipline and penalty issues are a major concern.
I'm going to just add to something, too, just full transparency and clarity on like a lot of these types of things like discipline. I will say real quick, though, too, in a light way, I don't know no punter that punts for 3 hours. After
well,
practice,
yeah,
okay?
Right. And those guys are staying after practice. Like every time I've gone to practice, the offensive line gets work in after practice. Yeah. And, I mean, Tyler Lockett was out there for like 45 minutes or an hour on the jugs machine last Wednesday when I was out there after week 1. Like, the extra work is happening. For whatever reason, the discipline and penalty stuff is just not translating to the football field.
And I'm not minimizing this point. To get to the final part of it is pulling the curtain back. Sometimes guys are just idiots. I was one from time to time. Like, guys are just... we give people a little bit too much credit at times is what I'm saying.
There's only so much a coach can do.
There's only so much. Yes, I agree with you, discipline. I've seen coaches drop the hammer on players, on teams, and guys still mess up. You know what you do? You fire that guy when you have the opportunity to. The issue that you have is not a lot of the top 1% athletes walking around like that, too, that you can just employ them to fill that void.
Well, that's why we talk about every draft season, why certain guys are off the draft board because of the quote-unquote character stuff. And off-field stuff. Penalties go into the bucket of off-field, beyond football,
cognitive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's very cognitive. Yes.
Sam is up next. Hey, Sam.
Morning, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Good morning, Sam.
I hope y'all hit your 20K by the end of this season. Will, shout out. Big 2 points that I wanted to kind of hit on. One, I think we're having too high of expectations on Cam. Like, I don't know if we still are on the same page where he's not the traditional best number 1 overall pick. I still kind of feel like that was a Callahan needed to have it happen to stay in the role. Furthering up into that question, saying, what do you think Cam's actual expectations are? And then 2, there's a guy, I think last week, Mike got a funny joke about Callahan. We know we have a bad girlfriend. How long are we going to stick with him? I'm saying this as well. You guys put up the audio earlier, and I'm like, this guy's deflecting and calling out the whole team about the sack issue. And I'm like, the play calling, the guy himself, how many weeks does he get, kind of even with what you were just saying, does he need, like, expectation Cam, how much longer of Callahan? Because, like, it's not the best situation I'm feeling like for everybody.
All right.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate the call. First on the expectations for Cam, Ramon.
He's a rookie on a bad team that doesn't have a whole lot of support. And with the second-year play caller, expectation for Cam, make it look promising. That's about as best as you could say with what we've seen so far.
He's exceeded my expectations so far. And we when we kind of gave this conversation in the offseason, like, we didn't put a stat on it.
No.
Because it's hard to say passing yards. You want them to be a certain point because if you're losing in games, you're going to throw more and you're going to make that number look better. And, like, the statistics mean less to me, more so than just show me moments. Show me flashes of greatness and get better from week 1 to week 18. So far, he's met that. He showed you a lot of flashes on Sunday against the Rams. He showed you some against the Broncos, and he's already improving.
I don't even know what type of offense Cam wants to run to be successful in, too. That's the other
you saw it on Sunday. I think it's the Miami offense. It's RPOs. It's getting him out of the pocket. It's creating. I mean, a lot of what Cam does best is off script anyway. So the script is almost secondary sometimes to just what he is when the play breaks down.
What's also fascinating to me is how much are you willing to trust the young wide receivers to actually help him get over the top, too. I do think there's something for DK and Ellick when it comes down to their play and him. How much do you want to move them up and move others down?
Sure. The question about Callahan and how long he gets, I struggle to answer questions like that without knowing how. Like, if the Titans were to go 0-5 to start the season, but they score 40 points in one of those losses, like, I don't know if that's on Brian Callahan. Like, if the penalty issues improve, if Cam Ward starts to improve, I'm sorry, I struggle to answer that.
I got an answer for you.
Okay, go for it.
18 weeks or Thanksgiving break. That's the answer. Because at Thanksgiving,
last year.
Yeah, Thanksgiving break is when you start efforting search committees for the next coach. That's it. If it's either the entire season or by Thanksgiving is where I'm at with it.
I think you give him the entire season.
Yeah.
Because you don't have another play caller on the offensive coaching staff other than Mike McCoy, who's an off-field assistant.
Or coach, what's the assistant coach name now? Offensive coordinator.
Nick Holtz?
Holtz.
He's not a play caller either.
He's offensive coordinator.
I know, but I mean,
I know what you mean. That's why I'm saying.
The level of continuity with Callahan and Cam needs time to improve. I struggle to answer how long does he get? I think he gets the season, at least.
Oh, too. That's not a conversation right now. I just don't think that, it's projecting is what it is. That is not going to get any better.
And I think this coaching staff and team and everything, you just need time. Daniel on YouTube says, fire Nick Holtz. I mean, the solution isn't always just fire, insert a coordinator's name here. Like, what does that do?
It's only week two.
It's been 2 weeks, guys. No one is getting fired in week 3. Unless your quarterback is Nico Imaliava. 615-737-1045 is our number. We will get to the college football discussion we were going to have here. I'm just putting off admitting I was wrong. That's all it is. No, not really. We had phone calls we wanted to get to. So we'll push our college football discussion to 8:45 this morning because coming up next, Vquest's Austin Price. Tennessee's injury status, the big mistake I thought Tim Banks made on Saturday. We'll react to Tennessee, Georgia, and look ahead to UAB with Austin Price next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, nobody wants to deal with the plumbing, an HVAC, or an electrical emergency. I'll be honest with you, at certain points in my life, I've dealt with them, and it just, it's trash. It's what it is, man. I absolutely hate it. It's a huge inconvenience. It's going to cost you a whole lot of money, or somebody comes to your house and they're spitting a different language to you that you don't understand what they're saying. When you call Hiller, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly, though. I've dealt with Hiller personally. I'm not going to tell you to use somebody that I personally do not use, and I absolutely love my experiences with them, man. I've had a plumbing and heating and electrical issues that they fixed flawlessly, man. Also, the price you're told is the price you're actually going to pay. There are no hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. Hiller's been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated too. Their techs are very professional, experienced, and trustworthy, and they're all background checked and drug screened. Cool part, when they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech that's coming to your door and a link to track them in real time, so you're not waiting and guessing when they're going to show up. You'll know exactly when they show up. Their motto is happy you'll be if the service is free. Absolutely, man. If you're not satisfied with Hiller or the service they provide you, they will make it right or make it free for you. To book with Hiller to learn more about them, simply visit happyhiller.com. It's Ramon Foster for All American Pest Control, man. Hear me out. All American Pest Control, they are family owned and proudly local. They've been serving Middle Tennessee for over 60 years. But guess what also? Fall pests are here. The stink bug, box elder bugs, Asian lady beetles try to invade homes every single fall. I won't lie to you. I absolutely despise stink bugs, man. You kill them, step on them, guess what? They say the smell attracts other stink bugs and you can't get them out of your house. Don't wait until they're crawling on your walls or freaking out your kids. Go ahead now and get the Complete Care Max program from All American Pest Control, where you can bundle mosquito control, pest control, yard treatments, and termite protection with Centricon. You service 8 times a year. You get free reservice if a pest does come back in while on the plan, or you can mix and match a lot that's going on with the plan too. There are no hidden fees or pushy sales. Honestly, just a peace of mind. Their technicians also show up on time and with a smile. Some of the best people I've worked with when we're talking about getting the pest out of your home. So protect your home and family. Reach out to All American Pest Control. You can visit their website at yuckbugs.com. That's yuckbugs.com.
Off of a heartbreaking defeat to Georgia, Tennessee, back at it at Neyland Stadium this weekend. As Ramona Will continues in Hour 3, fueled by Scooters Coffee. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Breaking down Tennessee, Georgia, and looking ahead to what is next. He joins us every Tuesday at 8:20 when the glass breaks. He is Austin Price of Vquest and On 3. Austin, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
We're good. What did you learn about this football team Saturday, Austin, in defeat, albeit a heartbreaking and close one that came down to a kick? What do you feel like you know now about this Tennessee team that you may not have when the season started or even when the week started?
I think you know that Joey Aguilar can stand up underneath the bright lights and awesome performance. I think you can see the promise that everybody saw in the receivers come to fruition. I think you continue to see the offensive line perform at a high level. And I think what you see is Tennessee really desperately needs a few players back on defense, both in the defensive interior and, helping the defensive backfield as quickly as they can get it.
So, Austin, on that front with the defensive backfield, do you feel like Tim Banks asked too much of his corners, or do you feel like this was more just a good quarterback beat you on his day and the game plan was the right one for that defense on Saturday?
That's really not for me to question. I mean, I know football decent. I don't know football well enough to know whether they, needed to, change kind of their game plan. I think Tim Banks is going to do what he does. I think he tried to take away the middle of the field a lot, which is something that he's gotten beaten on a lot by Mike Bobo the last few years. In doing that, you put your corners, I think, more out on an island, and one of them is a true freshman, and he got picked on a little bit. Did he play terrible? No. Did he give up some plays like the 4th down and 6 late? Yes, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just get beat. Like, you can be in good position, and Ty Redmond was in pretty good position on that 4th and 6. Just a great throw by Gunnar Stockton. You got to tip your cap to him. I mean, that was a fantastic throw. And so Tennessee found a way to collectively lose this game with the conservative play calls after the strip sack, when you had a chance to kind of go for the jugular, and they didn't. They ran it 3 times and then kicked the field goal. You had a chance when it was 4th and 6. You didn't do it. You didn't get the job done. They got the 2-point conversion after that and tied the game. And then you had the chance with the game-winning field goal at the end, and Max missed that. So it wasn't one person's fault or one group's fault. It was a collective effort there that led to a defeat that, should have been a win. But I think Tennessee should take a lot from this, knowing you were right with and really should have beaten the class of the SEC for the last 5 or 6 years. Like, Georgia has been the team, the program. And you have not been in their stratosphere, and you found yourself in that stratosphere on Saturday afternoon, early evening, and almost pulled it off. So I think you can take a lot from this game. I think it's good, though, this week Tennessee plays at UAB. They don't go in and play kind of a trap game. Like, if Mississippi State was this week, I would be more worried just because, I think that kind of loss does stick with you a little bit. But being able to get up, dust yourself off against UAB, they'll be fine a week from now when they go to Starkville.
Joined by Austin Price of Vquest on 3. Austin, this past weekend was telling for a lot of guys, man. The different variations of receivers that you have. Chris Brazzell has kind of turned himself now into a name when you have games like that, man. What validation does that get to that wide receiver core that you have? I know it's only about 7 scholarship guys, but the ability to produce, man, has to be something they're proud of right now.
I think everybody's really proud of the young wide receivers, how they've grown up. I think they're proud of Chris Brazzell. His start to his, to this season has been really, really good, especially considering he didn't really go through any fall camp except for like the last week and a half. And even then was limited. So what they've been able to get accomplished early in the year, I think has been impressive from Kelsey Pope's group. I know Kelsey's happy with them. Sees they can still get better and still do little things to improve. But, I mean, you look at their blocking down the field in the run game and the Syracuse game. You look at their ability to make plays Saturday. Everything has been on point to this point in the season, and so this team is going to look to them to build off of that. And Joey Aguilar is going to be needing them to build off of that. They did lose Rodarius Jackson, on Saturday, and he'll miss probably about a month or so with a collarbone type deal. But which is not ideal considering not super deep. But I think you have to be really, really pleased with what this group has gotten done through the first 3 games.
Also, that's the main question, I guess, going into it. Where is this group health-wise? Do you get Jackson Moy back, David Sanders Jr., and the multitude of other guys that you want to get their feet wet against the UAB team in Knoxville this week?
Absolutely. I don't – David Sanders is one of those deals where, as Coach Heupel said yesterday, he called it day-to-day. There's been a lot of conspiracy theories. Everybody lives on that grassy knoll, right? The agent's telling him not to play or whatever. Like, none of that's true. Like, David's chomping at the bit to play. It's killing him to not play. But right now, when they do the strength levels off of, it's what Coach Heupel called a unique deal. They're just not where they need to be to play offensive line in this league. And, again, this is one of those things where, like, you have your injury and all of a sudden you wake up one morning and it feels a lot better, and then all of a sudden the strength levels get a little better. He could be out there by tomorrow. You don't know how long this thing's going to linger. Jackson Moy, I think, potentially could play this week. I don't think he will because it makes no sense. It makes no sense to play him. I think there's a really good shot he plays next week, barring any setbacks. And then David Hobbs is the one that's most interesting to me. He's out of his boot. He's been doing things. He's been running. How quickly does the training staff clear him to come back is the real question. And if this thing continues to linger, it's going to make you wonder about the training staff a little bit. I mean, like some of these injuries seem to be taking a little longer than normal, so to speak. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of how these things come back. But I think Moy's got a really good shot to be back when Tennessee goes on the road to Mississippi State next week. We'll see on Hobbs. McCoy, I'm thinking sometime October, for him as he tries to continue to battle to be back. But just getting one of the 2 defensive linemen back, which would help Bryson Eason and Dom Bailey and Nathan Robinson out immensely to where, Bailey and Eason wouldn't be playing 65 and 70 snaps, which is what they've done multiple times through the first 3 games.
Austin, you mentioned the training staff. Has something changed, the philosophy inside of it? Do you have to be more careful with these guys when you speak about the investments that they are for the duration of the season? Because you mentioned questioning them. I'm just like, well, what has changed as far as the way they're evaluating?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think he did change trainers over the offseason. And so maybe this trainer is a little more conservative than the previous trainer. I don't know. It just feels like things are a little slower than they have been. Again, I'm not medical. I can't tell you how hurt a kid is or how hurt a kid is not. But, you start to see kids walking around and those type of things and, jumping around on the sideline and, it makes you, wonder how close they are. But, again, I don't know. I could not tell you if they've changed practices or thought processes with any of the medical stuff from one year to the next. I do know they changed trainers, but outside of that, I think that, that's purely a medical question. And that's probably unfair for me to say you're starting to question it. Again, I don't know how hurt a kid is or how hurt a kid is not. So, I know some of these kids that are out are chomping at the bit to get back on the field. Like, they don't like being on the sideline one bit.
Vquest, Austin Price, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. In the secondary, Austin, Ricky Gibson, I know, appears to be a more long-term issue, but what is the update on Jermon McCoy specifically, and how much closer is Tennessee to getting him back on the field?
He continues to progress. I don't see him playing before the month of October, which means you're going to go into the bye week. I think the earliest you would see him is Arkansas, which is out of the bye week, second weekend of October. If you could get him back in some form or fashion that game and then have him more ready to go for a trip to Tuscaloosa the third weekend of October, I think it would be ideal. Again, though, a lot of factors in play in a lot of these deals. like we'll see how quickly, he can get back and how quickly the medical staff clears him to return to team periods in practice and so on and so forth.
Also, the question I've got on David Sanders, I know we talked a little bit about this last week, and I asked Brent about it too on Friday. Is it a foregone conclusion that when David gets cleared, he plays? Because as good as this offensive line has been, you could have the idea maybe that it's not a slam dunk to change this combination that's been working so far.
I would tell you that it's not a foregone conclusion that he just comes back and starts the first game, but there's a reason he was Tennessee's starting right tackle. There's a reason, he was a 5-star offensive tackle. This wasn't something that was given to him, no matter what anybody says. Like, he went out and earned it. And so do I think he starts the moment that he's cleared? No, I don't think. And I don't think that would be fair to David. Hey, David, just get in there. Like I think you bring him in off the bench and then let him go from there. It's you'll see that a lot of times with players, just kind of let them ease back into the pool a little bit. And for David, I think, the talent is immense. And I think he's, again, one of those kids that's chomping at the bit to get back out there. When he gets cleared, we'll have to obviously knock off some rust, which is why I say you bring him off the bench. You set aside 2 to 3 series in the first game and get him in there and see how he does, and then let him work himself back from there.
Also, when you look at this defense of the edge rusher group, a couple of guys that we had big question marks on who we felt like were talented yet hadn't proved it yet. Josh Josephs, who obviously has played and has had some stuff to put on film, but Caleb Herring's weekend, over the weekend, the kid out of Murfreesboro and Riverdale High School, just how impressed were you with those two edge guys specifically, Jordan Ross in that as well, and how much better do you feel about Tennessee's pass rush on the edge than maybe you did coming into the season?
I think they've been fantastic. I think all three have been disruptive. Josh Josephs is the clear leader in that group. He's got a sack in each game to this point. Has done a fantastic job of being the leader in that room. And then Caleb Herring did have a nice coming out party. Jordan Ross flashed big time the other day. And so you want to continue to see them build upon it because, again, Josh Josephs will be going after this year. And so thus Caleb Herring and Jordan Ross ascend even to a greater role. Then you'll bring in another freshman to back them up and so on and so forth. So I think for that group, they have the greatest chance to impact the defense, impact the game, because they have been getting to the quarterback pretty regular early in the year. And I think that goes back to some of the work they did this offseason and how much they've improved and just kind of the collective talent in that room for Coach Chop.
Also, the kick wasn't the main reason they lost. I know everybody's going to point to it. As you mentioned earlier, so many different situations that popped up, the 4th and 6, the inability to stop the run at times where you needed the long second quarter, third quarter coming out that Georgia had also. But what is Coach Heupel's, and if you know the teammates' response to Max Gilbert's miss this week, have you seen him around? The expectation that he will get better? Do you have to start looking at other options at kickers in that moment right there? Is there another option for a place kicker?
No, I mean, again, Max stepped up there and knocked the one down in overtime, and I know it's basically the same kick. It's really no different than, Will getting up on the first tee and cranking one out of bounds, and then, when he re-tees, he's hitting 3 and he hits it right down the middle.
That's the way it goes.
The pressure off the first shot is always greater than the second time. Or as I call it when I do this playing golf, first shot, third team All-District, second shot, All-American. So, Max Gilbert is Tennessee's place kicker. He's shown nothing outside of just missing a game winner to say he shouldn't be. I've not seen him around the complex this week, but, we're kind of relegated to the north side, and if a kid doesn't walk through the north side, we don't see them. So I'm sure it's bothered him. I'm sure it's rattled him. I'm sure somebody has tweeted at him because that's what people do, and everybody's a keyboard warrior. But, Max is proven to be a really good kicker through his first couple of years here. He'll bounce back and will potentially get another opportunity, and we'll see if he knocks it down the next time.
No doubt about it, man. As far as Joey Aguilar goes, too, I think we all saw this. Hey, we got a substitute teacher. Now, I personally think if he continues to show that he can pass the way he is so far, and his arm strength is there, his coolness is there also. Josh Heupel may have at least struck a match to turn him into a better NFL prospect. Is that how you see what he's doing so far, especially with the rest of the competition that he has and what he's done against Georgia?
Did you just call him a substitute teacher?
Austin, this man came in May. Okay, yes, he was a substitute teacher.
He is the coolest substitute teacher since Rod Belding on Saved by the Bell. Okay, it's just a fantastic job. He's a great guy. We had him out on the locker room Sunday night. We had him out, for Beyond the Orange, which will air a week from this Sunday, and just a kid that's just soaking in every moment. I think he realizes, this is a real opportunity for him. His path to the NFL was probably, a much tougher path. Being here, I think it gives him a chance, which, again, for all the Joel Klatt conversation and this and that and people making comments, if Heupel takes Joey Aguilar and Joey Aguilar gets drafted in some form or fashion come April, I don't think he was getting drafted at UCLA playing for Deshaun Foster. And I mean, that's not a knock on the other guy. I don't want to talk about the other guy. It is what it is. But, I think it's a real testament to what Josh Heupel's able to do for quarterbacks, to get them to play a certain way, to get them to play confidently, to let it rip, to play within the scheme. I mean, he was fantastic Saturday. Yeah. Tennessee's offense Saturday with Joey Aguilar running the show was the most Tennessee's looked like the 22 offense since the 22 offense. They had guys running free. They schemed up plays. It was really, really impressive. And, again, doing it against Georgia, a team that you had not scored more than 17 points against in the 4 previous outings since Josh Heupel arrived. You scored 3 more touchdowns. And they weren't defensive touchdowns, right? Like, the offense scored points. It wasn't the defense getting a short field and you punching one in. You drove the field multiple times. That first series was like routes on air. I mean, was the defense even out there?
Right.
Tennessee's offense looked crisp. It looked like it did a few years ago, which goes back to his ability to process things and get from first read, second read, third read. Okay, nothing's there. Let's improvise. And I'll continue to say his ability to improvise through the first couple of games, when the few times the offensive line has let somebody get into the backfield, has been really, really impressive.
Yeah.
He is Austin Price of Vquest on 3. Austin, I was going to ask you with my last question, are you surprised that Nico isn't already in the portal now that Deshaun Foster got fired? But you said you don't want to talk about the old guy, so I guess I'll skip it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're gone. I think you got to move on from it. It is what it is. I think you just appreciate Joey Aguilar. As his 100%. Dad said last week, we don't have any ill will towards Nico. If anything else, we say thank you, because they are in a position they would not have been in if he had not left.
That's well said. That's a good point. Austin Price of Vquest every Tuesday at 8:20 here in the show. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Austin.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price with us this morning. Tennessee's getting healthier on defense. That's a good thing. Jackson Moy, it sounds like, is definitely back from Mississippi State. Jermon McCoy is not, so you're going to go Hood and Redmond again if they're still healthy against Mississippi State. Yeah. And you hopefully have David Hobbs back for that one, too. That is a Mississippi State team that's going to really challenge those corners, too, because they run Tennessee's offense.
No doubt. This upcoming week, I hate to beat down little brother, but I want to stomp him into a curve. Every time I see a field goal, it's skirmish to me. Like, I hate it. Every field goal I see go through. He ain't the main reason. He's not. Absolutely not the main reason. But every field goal I saw after that game, I just said, why do we kick these?
UAB is 2-1. They beat Akron 31-28 on Saturday. They are not very good.
Good.
They are really not very good.
I hope his former players get sacks against them, too.
You got a couple of them.
Yeah, I know.
Tennessee's filled with Lipscomb players.
Yeah, they are.
No doubt about it. No, Trent Dilfer is Might not be there much longer. UAB has not been good at all the past couple of seasons. And week 1, they beat Alabama State 52-42. Shout out Hornets.
You and these random shots. You know the logos and everything.
Oh, I have played more of that college football video game since I was a kid than I was talking to girls at recess.
Hey, now.
So nobody's surprised.
You had a real upbringing. Right?
I mean, I've only ever talked to one girl really ever, and it's the one I'm currently engaged to.
Already
it's the only girl I've
engaged
ever
you.
communicated with. The only one.
I hope she missed you running game right there.
The very important page.
I hope she missed it, Hawk. I hope she is busy and she missed that.
No, she's probably not. She's probably listening. Hello, Peyton, if you're out there. Coming up, I'm going to do something very uncomfortable. The haters and losers think I never admit when I'm wrong. I'm going to prove the haters and losers wrong. Coming up next.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk has shifted on you, your driveway is cracked and sinking, or your porch steps, maybe they've moved on you. Shifted concrete can create a dangerous situation, just trip hazard around your home. It's also just a big eyesore. Whatever is going on with your concrete, call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. You've heard about USS for a long time. It's the same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can also fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or even driven on after about 30 minutes. So don't go through that long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing concrete. Reach out to the company I trust, man. You can go to that website at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Ramona Will, 1045 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 3 this morning. 615-737-1045, the number. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Brian Callahan evaluating what he saw from Cam Ward on film in Week 2 against the L.A. Rams. Nick Suss of the Tennessean joins us, talking Titans in a half hour. Ramon, I'm ready to make some financial moves. I've talked with my financial advisor. I'm ready to move some money around. Arm strength, decision-making, mechanics, generational talent, college football playoff championship expectations. That's me selling all of my stock in Arch Manning.
You sold it?
Done.
I thought you was about to bet more.
Nope. Arch Manning stinks. He's terrible. I couldn't have been more wrong. I thought people were way too scared of hyping him up because he was that good of a high school prospect, because of Steve Sarkisian's offense, because of the wide receivers he's throwing to. No. 10 straight incompletions against UTEP. My brother.
He had 10 straight?
No, he was getting booed off the field at the end of the first half because he couldn't complete a check down against the UTEP Miners.
The Golden Boy?
Now, shout out to Scotty Walden, the former Austin Peay coach, who's doing the things there that he was doing at Austin Peay, which earned him that job. But my goodness, Ramon, he's bad. He crowned him before he needed to be crowned. Now, that's me admitting I'm wrong. That's me saying, nope, was totally out of control. The hype was way out of control. Here's the thing, though, Ramon. Anyone who saw this coming is lying and was just a hater. Because Arch Manning regressing in things like fundamentals, things like throwing mechanics, things like wide open receivers just being missed. Even the biggest Arch Manning doubter that was saying, whoa, pump the brakes, could not have seen this coming. So, while yes, I'm wrong, I'm not totally wrong. Because honestly, I think those of you who are hating on him were still just hating on him because you wanted to be different. There's probably a middle ground of some level-headed people that were like, I need to wait and see it. He's a good prospect. We'll see. Who are probably right at this point. But Ramon, he is atrocious. And it's weird. It's startling how bad he is.
Oh, my. Hey, tip of the cap to you for owning that one, because I don't think there's been many others that have owned it. I think Feinbaum is kind of somewhat pieced back or sidestepped it a little bit.
He's in the same boat. No doubt. I was on the same train as Feinbaum that he was going to be a Heisman finalist at least this year. I believed in him.
And the games that they've played, too, let me go back and look and see. Like, it hadn't been overly, well, it has been somewhat challenging for Texas.
Well, Ohio State is as challenging as it gets. Ohio
State, and they lost. San Jose State, 38-7. That should have been way worse than that.
Well, and the offense did not look good in that game. They created like 18 turnovers in that game. I'm obviously exaggerating, but they gave him a ton of short fields, and he still didn't look good.
Morally, UTEP won that game. Like for
27-10. Yeah.
For themselves, Arch Manning, by the way, on the season completion percentage,
55%, right?
55.3.
Yeah. 47 of 85, 579, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks. He's rushed for 112 and 3 touchdowns. He showed us enough flashes last year to suggest that he could get better. Like, this isn't even like a DJ Lagway situation. Like, DJ Lagway looks rusty because he didn't practice for like 6 months. Arch Manning has been the guy all offseason.
Yeah, he has.
He's the guy.
He's the golden boy.
He's been practicing. He's been in there. They've got 5-star receivers. They got good players on that football team and a quarterback guru coach. I don't understand what happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Jeez. I'm looking at it right now. I said Peyton was right. He was adopted. Like, y'all are stupid,
Crazy.
Man. This is an interesting situation because, again, recruiting, for what it's worth, it has its good, it has its bad, and it also has its projections part of what they think players are going to be. And I think as of late, we're seeing that with Lenore Sellers, who wasn't highly recruited, but DJ Lagway was.
Sellers was highly recruited.
Sellers was. Yeah. I thought he didn't have nobody but South Carolina plus another.
Clemson.
Clemson was in
Clemson originally.
Yeah, I know that about him. But we're looking at Nico's situation, Arch's situation, Lagway also. And you got to kind of say to yourself, Warren, I think the team matters and offensive coordinators and the offense that you're running. You got a guy, and I say this is bragging right now, but Joey Aguilar, who's come from 3 other schools before getting to Tennessee and looking like a guy. And then you also have these 5-stars who are dropping the ball like crazy right now. And sometimes you got to really evaluate where you're going. Does the offensive coordinator match what I want to be as a football player? And sometimes it do, and a lot of times it don't as of late. These stars mean nothing until these guys go prove it. That's why I'm a huge advocate. Don't show me, tell me how good you are.
Right.
And Arch is in that conversation too.
Right.
I just can't believe it. I'll be honest with you. Seeing him throw, I joke about this from time to time, but his actually does look like Uncle Rico.
No, he looks like he's shot putting the football forward.
He looks like Uncle Rico.
Like he's gotten worse.
Yeah.
You're right, though. Sellers actually was not as highly recruited as I thought. He was not committed to Clemson.
No.
I think they tried to get in late, but he stuck with South Carolina. So my bet on that. 247 didn't love him.
Is this where, and I don't think we'll ever get to this point, but one preseason game or one big school versus school scrimmage would be very advantageous for college teams to see what their player, see what they actually have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, though, as paranoid as college coaches are. Like, yes, I've been on that train that you should play an FCS program in your state for your spring game. Like, I would love that. But at the same time, like, could you have really seen what was coming with Arch Manning because you play, name a random FCS Texas, like Sam Houston State in April? No.
S&P.
Yeah, I mean, you're still going to get coaches that are paranoid of not showing anything in those games. I also think the reason why those games are going to happen is because the FCS coaches don't want their players shaking hands and getting recruited after you play the game.
I mean, that's going to happen regardless, though.
I mean, you'd have to, you're going to take away the spring portal window, but still, you're going to have, if you played Tennessee and Tennessee State in April, you think those coaches aren't shaking hands? Hey,
yeah,
you look pretty good on that third and 5 you got us on. You want to?
Yeah.
You want to come Knoxville?
Dude, I mean, seriously, it's going to happen. Do you, can Sark bench him?
Ooh. I mean,
that's the biggest question.
It's going to get to that point. I don't think it's at that point yet. Let's see what he looks like in an SEC game. I mean, they've still got, I believe it actually is Sam Houston State they play this weekend. Texas does.
Looking at the schedule.
It's Sam Houston State on Saturday, and then they go to the Swamp.
At Florida.
Which they have a bye week in between those two games. And that is not the showdown of quarterbacks that we thought it was going to be. We tabbed that as one of the best quarterback matchups of the college football season. DJ Lagway in Florida in the Swamp against Arch Manning. Game day will probably be there.
Lies.
Absolutely not. Taylor on YouTube said, I hope you're admitting you were wrong about Vanderbilt. I said yesterday that Vanderbilt's better than I thought they would be so far, but Vandy's not a playoff contender in my eyes until they go prove that against a starting SEC quarterback for 4 quarters.
So we got knocked for NC State last year or 2 years ago. Remember?
He's getting knocked for Syracuse. Like, it just, I think Virginia Tech is much easier of an opponent than you thought they were going to be.
Hey, Taylor, now isn't your time. Let us trash Texas real quick. Taylor, stop making it about you.
And you played Luke Doty for the second half.
Oh.
Vandy gets credit for the way they won that game, but I'm not totally pumping the brakes on my take that they're still a middle-of-the-road SEC team.
Let us trash UT Junior, Taylor, in peace. Horns down.
Coming up, what Brian Callahan said about the film on Cam Ward against the Rams next.
Two Rivers Ford is asking for help collecting non-perishable food items to benefit Second Harvest Food Bank and the Mount Juliet Help Center as they help to feed those who need it the most in our community. I've been telling you, we're close to the holiday season. Let's not wait till we're in it. Two Rivers Ford is ahead of it right now, but here's how easy it is. Next time you're at a grocery store, pick up a couple extra cans of food. Things like canned tuna, chicken, or salmon, protein bars, low-sodium soups or chilies, dried beans or rice, boxes of cereal, anything that can be stored stored and served over the next few months, and then drop it by a dealership in the F-150 displayed right up front. You cannot miss it. We saw it yesterday. And you have until the end of the month to do this. So anytime between now and September 30th, it's all part of Ford Motor Company's Global Caring Month and the world's largest dealership food drive. Let's make it that way, okay? Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Get there. Something awesome is happening at Genesis Diamonds. It's this Friday through Sunday. You've been hearing about this. It's big. It's a 3-day designer engagement ring event showcasing the world's top 2 brands in bridal jewelry, Tacori and Verragio. Tacori from California, Verragio from New York, both here with their entire lines, including all new rings for this special event. You can explore hundreds of exquisite American-made designer rings. Plus, Genesis will have special incentives like 0-interest financing and up to $5,000 in instant savings. In addition, Genesis has expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds for this 3-day event. All shapes, all sizes, rock bottom prices. This is, listen to me, the best of the best. Every Tacori ring is handcrafted by master artisans with exceptional quality. Every Verragio ring is made by hand with unmatched attention to detail. These are brands other jewelers only wish they could offer, but I'm telling you, at Genesis, they have the entire Tacori and Verragio collections, and they'll all be on display this weekend. Don't miss the bridal jewelry event of the year, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
It is 9:03. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Coming up this morning at 11 a.m., Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator Nick Holt, special teams coordinator John Bones Fossil, and defensive coordinator Denard Wilson all will speak to the media. You can hear those pressers right here on 104.5 The Zone, courtesy of the Buck Rising Show. And other NFL news this morning, with Joe Burrow sidelined at least the next 3 months, the Cincinnati Bengals are signing veteran quarterbacks Mike White and Sean Clifford to their practice squad. Also, defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, who signed a one-year, $3.5 million deal worth up to $6 million with the Dallas Cowboys after their overtime win over the Giants Sunday, says he expects to make his Cowboys debut this Sunday against the Bears. Tonight, Nashville SC is back on the pitch as they host the Philadelphia Union for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup semifinal at Geodis Park. This is the first time the boys in gold have made the semifinals in the Open Cup. The Union side are the top team in MLS competition in 2025 thus far, but Nashville have won both of their meetings in the regular season. First kick tonight at 7 p.m. Central, and the game is also broadcasted on the CBS Sports Network as well as Paramount Plus. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour here already. Ramon and Will is fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Locally owned near you, Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. He is the 11-year NFL veteran, Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen. Nick Suss has a really interesting piece of the Tennessean this morning about Titans penalty concerns. Are they losing because of penalties, or are they losing and committing penalties in the process? We'll dive into that with Nick Suss, the Tennessean. Does a great job covering the team. Coming up in 15 minutes. Very interesting stuff that he has written about this morning. Brian Callahan talked about Cam Ward yesterday and what the film showed out of week 2, talking about how Cam sees the field. Here is the Titans head coach evaluating his starting quarterback yesterday.
He sees the field really, really well. That part has been really encouraging. I think we had one or two missed opportunities that you can't miss in a game like that. That we had a chance to generate something explosive potentially. I thought that he was better with his footwork and with his progressions this week than he was the week before. I think he gets better every time he walks on the field, and that's really good to see. The biggest thing for him is the ball security portion. It's just trying to keep two hands on the ball, moving through the pocket. That's a thing that all young quarterbacks got to get used to. There's arms and bodies and people all raking at that ball at a really high rate, and we got to do a better job securing it in the pocket. But there was a lot of really great things from Cam. Some of the throws, the location, some of those balls to Ellick down the sideline. There was some really, really good stuff from the game that I'm incredibly encouraged by. And again, you stack another week of practice and another game, and you like to see it continue to get better. And I think we will.
If he's seeing the field that well, what's the disconnect with the completion percentage, which is not?
Well, I think first and foremost, we've had some drops. I think we can all agree with that. That affects it a pretty good amount. And then we've had a couple of potential, aggressive plays that he saw well and put the ball in the air, and we got to go make those plays. And then he's it's not perfection. I mean, he's missed some throws too that we like to have. So, but I think in totality, where he's at and what he's done is something that I'm very encouraged by. I'm excited by, and I think. For a young player in his first 2 starts against 2 really good defenses, I think there's some really good stuff to take away.
It's Brian Callahan talking yesterday. It feels like he sees the field really well, Ramon, but to me, it's outside the numbers. Cam has been A+. It's some of the checkdowns over the middle of the field where I feel like he's leaving yards out there.
Yeah, that's the catch-22 of having him. That's also on Coach Callahan and Bull Hardigree on reeling some of that stuff in. Like, your eyes are up and not down. Like, scan low to high is probably some conversation that he's got to have. Take what's given to you. He's Coach Callahan's been acknowledging that. Cam wants to go for the home run. He likes the big play. It's exciting. It's been a part of his career. He's had to drag teams out of the pits of darkness, and that's the way he's done it in those moments. He gives off that, hey, watch me and believe me and follow me type of vibes. But in the NFL, as Coach Callahan seems like he's trying to get him to understand that ain't this league. It's a little bit more detail that the defense has in front of them, in front of you. There are guys that are quicker, better athletes. You're no longer dealing with 19-year-olds. You're dealing with guys that are 27, 28, 29-year-old that understand this game, has played a whole lot more football than you. Yeah, it's encouraging. The question I have is if Cam Ward, listening to him talk about Coach Brian Callahan as his biggest salesman, I wonder how much the front office believe Cam, and I truly do believe that.
Like, believe in him?
Believe what he says about Coach Brian Callahan.
Got it.
And how patient they will be in trying to let this develop.
Let these two work together.
Yes. Right. Cam sells Coach Brian Callahan hard. I'm not sure because I'm not familiar with his past like that to know if he does this with everybody.
I mean, he has with his receivers. Remember, he called Treylon Burks a top 5 receiver in the NFL on a Fortnite stream before the NFL draft.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that. But how do you piece that together, though, moving forward with decisions that may or may not have to be made for this franchise and for those two?
Good question. Do you see what Matthew Stafford said about Cam, by the way, this morning?
I missed it.
Or, it was late last night. It was on his weekly Let's Go show on Sirius XM.
Who doesn't have a show?
Well, I know. Wasn't this was Tom Brady's show originally, wasn't it? And now it's on Sirius?
Oh, they passed it on?
I think so.
Okay, all right.
Because he's got like the Let's Go thing is like Tom's catchphrase, I guess, which that's a pet peeve of mine. I feel like I say Let's Go all the time, but like what Let's Go doesn't really doesn't make sense. Like, let's go.
Let's go.
Where are we going? Whatever. Matthew Stafford, quote, "That's a salty team. I know their record is what it is, but that's a really solid defense. A young quarterback that is super talented. Man, his first touchdown pass of his career was one to remember. That was an unbelievable play. I just tipped my cap to him on the sideline and said, that's well done, youngin', or young gun. Youngin', I don't know what he said. Stafford then goes on to say, I was impressed by what Cam was able to do out of the pocket. He made some plays with his feet and threw a couple balls in timing and rhythm down the field to some receivers that were really impressive. And then the touchdown pass was a play of its own. It almost looked a little Patrick Mahomes-ish. When you're running around back there, buying all sorts of time, and then throwing it to the part of the field where nobody thought you'd throw it, and it was an impressive play by the kid." Matthew Stafford on Sirius XM yesterday.
That's good endorsement of Cam.
He's right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing things that you're not supposed to do as a rookie, making the jump from college to the NFL. And it's why we can live with the lack of going to the checkdowns. It's why you can live with some of the hits he's taking, because sometimes when he extends the play, he scores a touchdown or he finds a receiver for an explosive play. That's the disconnect between what this offense was last year to this year, Ramon, is that you were getting all those negative game management plays without the explosive plays. Now you're getting improvisational good, not just improv and, oh, hey, here, other team, here's the football.
Yeah. I'm going to go opposite here, just a little bit.
Opposite of Stafford?
Yeah, just the concept of Cam real quick.
Okay.
Call me old school, and that's probably it. But I do want to see more of that in the box type of stuff.
I do too.
Stafford can say that.
There's got to be a balance.
Yeah, there has to be a balance. Stafford can say that, but Stafford also knows in order to be a quarterback, you got to do those things a lot more than you do the eccentric stuff.
Yep.
Calling him Patrick Mahomes, calling that, the first touchdown, all of that is phenomenal. But like I know, when the rubber meets the road, those quarterback things, simple, living at quarterback is also what's going to make him great.
And Patrick had to learn that too.
Yes, he did.
Patrick had to learn to take checkdowns and not always hunt downfield. Because when he came to Tennessee and the Titans beat them 24-3, and that offense didn't even score a touchdown, that was in the middle of Patrick learning, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to sometimes take the 5-yard route and live to fight another day.
No doubt. And I don't want to wet blanket his comments at all.
I'm with you.
But to the point of watching this team turn it over and him becoming a quarterback, NFL quarterback. Stafford said all that without saying but he needs to learn how to play in the pocket too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think there's a time and place for the improv and for the scrambling. The low red zone is the time to do that.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Because like Brian Callahan talked about yesterday, sometimes it turns into backyard football when you get there in tight spaces. red zone offenses just mean that you have players that can get open in a phone booth.
Yo.
Because that comes down to talent as much as anything. Talent and high-level quarterbacking where what's your plan B? Like the Joey Aguilar throw to Star Thomas against Syracuse. Low red zone. Extends the play. He had a guy open in the back corner, but extended the play, made a high-level throw. That's where I'm okay with Cam taking risks. On 2nd and 10, I need Cam to get 4 yards to set up 3rd and 6.
Thank you, sir.
Because the risk is too heavy. Because if you do all that scrambling and you take a 16-yard sack like you get against Denver, or a 3-yard I'm running out of bounds, and that counts as a sack, well, now it's 3rd and 13.
Or put you in 3rd and 10.
In 3rd and goal, yeah, you take a 5 or 10-yard loss. All right, we're still kicking. Because then a 2 or 3 yard check down, well, then you're still kicking that way anyway. So you're more willing to take those risks in the red zone than you are in a situation where you got to stay ahead of the chains and you got to keep yourself out of obvious pass rush situations.
Facts.
So I agree with you. There's a little bit of wet blanket we've got to have to say you can't improv all the time. Yeah. Pick your moments.
And that's all I'm saying.
And that's going to come with time.
And you know what? I'll say this. As an offense, I play with a guy that played just like that. It's fun. Do you hear me? Knowing that, man, where is he going? And then touchdown. Like, it is so fun. But he also, I told you on break, I was like, Ty Haley was brought in to slow that down. We dinked and dunked and lulled you to sleep, and then boom, when you go down the field. Like, that's the setup that Coach Callahan got to make sure he's taking Cam through.
Coming up, we'll bring the Tennessee Titans beat writer Nick Suss into the conversation next.
It's Ramon Foster for Princess Hot Chicken, the original hot chicken. Some like to call it the OG. All the names that you want to get it. First is what you call Princess Hot Chicken, okay? And it's one of the first places you need to stop when going in or out of the city because they also have a location in the airport. I myself have stopped there before getting on a flight, and the chicken was phenomenal. Every location I've gone to, man, the Cane Ridge, the Nolanville Pike, I went a couple weeks ago. Amazing environment, great people that's working there, man. And as I told you, the food is amazing. You don't have to just also get Princess Hot Chicken. You can get plain, with no hotness to it at all. I personally like light mild, but of course you call me what you want, so I just know where my levels are. But they got amazing size too: mac and cheese, potato salad, baked beans, however you want to do it. Also, it's football season, which means it's party season, man. They can also cater for you 15 people up to 1,000 plus. No party size is too large for Princess Hot Chicken at all. They can customize anything from your high-end event to your tailgate. Princess Hot Chicken has you covered, man. Again, numerous locations around the city. Get to it. You can visit their socials also, Princess Hot Chicken _Nashville, or Facebook at Princess Hot Chicken 2. Whatever you do, make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Talking Titans with you here in hour number 4. He's the 11-year NFL vet, Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined this morning by Nick Suss of the Tennessean, talking some Titans, talking about penalties in a great piece that's at Tennessean.com this morning. Nick, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. I think in the intro, maybe 1 or 2 more penalty flags were thrown. No, it is, please, thank you for mentioning the story. I think that people will be interested to see what we actually know about penalties right now.
Absolutely. So explain, if you will, just the premise of this. You guys have done a deep dive, and you've done excellent work on this at Tennessean.com about the correlation between a team's win total and penalties. What was kind of the overarching theme of this, and what did you find and how it relates to this Titans team?
See, I went into this thinking, like most of us do, it's probably very easy to figure out that the teams that commit the most penalties are the teams that are losing, and you put one sentence in a story and cool, you've got a story. But the more research I did, the more I found that there is absolutely no evidence that points towards teams that are penalized more end up winning fewer games. I looked at 8 different factors: total number of penalties called, accepted penalties called against a team, penalty yards levied against a team, net yards of penalties, net penalty count, pre-snap penalty count, nullified yards, which are yards on offense you lose because of penalties, and then first downs allowed, which are first downs on defense you give up because of penalties. None of them have any correlation to team wins over the last 3 years in the NFL. If you look at playoff rates, there were 42 teams that made the playoffs in the last 3 seasons. 21 of them ranked in the top half of the NFL in penalty rate, 21 of them ranked in the bottom half of the NFL in penalty rate. When we talk about this Titans team and the penalty issues, we need to start here by saying teams that commit the most penalties, there is absolutely zero connection between that and actual team success. That does not mean penalties are not a problem, but for anyone who is out here jumping to the immediate conclusion, the Titans stink because they're committing a bunch of penalties. No, the Titans are losing games and they're committing a bunch of penalties. The symptoms are not necessarily connected.
So, Nick, how do you think Brian Callahan and his staff are going about trying to solve this issue and keeping the team out of a 3rd and long with all of that said? Because it does feel like there is legitimate surprise from Brian Callahan, because they felt like they had addressed this in preseason, and now all of a sudden the lights have turned on in the regular season and it's the same issue as it was last season.
Yeah, and it's actually a little bit worse, if we're being honest, because I asked Callahan about this yesterday. I said, when you did your off-season analysis of sins and mental errors, what was the conclusion on penalties? What did you tell the team? And he essentially came back and said, I told the team that I am mostly indifferent towards pass interference or holding or the penalties that are going to happen in the speed of the game, because those can be subjective. Those can be tied to referees seeing things. They happen on every play. We all understand that. What he wanted to root out are pre-snap, post-snap, and alignment penalties. Your false starts, encroachments, illegal shifts, illegal formations, and then roughing the passer and illegal hits after the whistle and those sorts of things. And that's what they focused on. That's what they wanted to fix. Last year, the Titans committed 3.6 controllable penalties per game by my count. This year, they're committing 6. So for as much as the focus has been on, fix the controllable penalties and everything else will happen, by my count, and again, we can quibble over whether an illegal shift was controllable or not, but generally, if you're just looking at the count of what should be pre-snap, post-snap alignment penalties, as Callahan singled those 3 out, 12 of those through 2 games. Small sample, things do tend to even out as the season goes on and your players get less sloppy. I understand that. But we're looking at 6 controllable penalties per game, which to me is the real issue here. It's not the 28 penalties and the 23 accepted penalties and the 193 penalty yards, which those are not good. I'm not sitting here saying, they should commit more penalties. We're not saying that at all. But we do need to acknowledge the problem is not the volume of the penalties. The problem is which penalties have been deemed unacceptable and the fact that those unacceptable penalties are increasing.
Joined by Nick Suss of the Tennessean this morning discussing the Titans. So Nick, when you view this situation, it's fascinating because you mentioned the pre-snap. They didn't have many in the preseason. They were very clean in joint practices. Is this, when you look at it, just a summary of a team that's striving really hard to win games and they're trying to do too much, or is it just lack of focus because it's more real now? Which one do you think it is? Because hearing you say that is very interesting that it doesn't correlate, but like we're seeing a team also be bad, to your point, and also be bad before the play even happens. Coaches, to your point, don't have a problem with effort penalties. Like if I'm trying to get somebody, I don't think they have a huge problem with Cedric Gray this past weekend. They probably hate the rule, but don't hate Cedric for trying to get an extra block. Is it the strain of trying to win and set a tone that things have changed here is the reason why? Psychologically, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to therapize each individual player, but I think you can point to certain moments, like say a false start on a pass play where you're going backwards as an offensive lineman, and I'm sure Ramon can speak to this really well too. But
a lot of anxiety.
If you're going backwards, and if you're a little bit overmatched, as the Titans offensive linemen have tended to be through these first 2 weeks, you're going to be jumpy. And that is to use the buzzword, that is a mental discipline issue. That is not a talent or skill issue. That is how long can you contain yourself knowing you need to get off as quick as possible to have every edge you can possibly have against Nick Bonito or against Jared Verse or against any of these guys. And Byron Young had John Ojukwu looking jumpy this week. And John Ojukwu just off the practice squad. He's a guy who's, I believe, started 3 NFL games, maybe 4 in his career. You got a good rusher across from you, it's going to be tough. So I get that, but those are the types of penalties that, sure, if you're trying to avoid a sack, what's the average loss of yardage on a sack? 6 or 7 yards? And you're giving up 5 just because you're afraid it's going to happen? That's the type of stuff the Titans really have to root out.
No doubt. Well, okay, consequences is something that we all have to live with sometime. If you're hurting a team, I mean, if you get arrested in the offseason, you get suspended. I was asked a question. I love your opinion on this one, too. How do you give a team that have these type of issues before the snap consequences? Is it public embarrassment? Guy false starts, he comes out of the game. Is this something that can be asked of Coach Callahan and his staff? Because I do believe guys want the best, but sometimes guys are just idiots, and that plays a part. And as players, we tell each other, no, you were just dumb on that play. Do you think Coach Callahan and his staff would get to that point to where I'm not going to fine you, I'm just going to pull you out of a game? Is that something that needs to be asked to him?
It could end up happening that way. The question ends up being, what do they value and what do they trust? And again, I don't want to focus too hard on Ojukwu himself, but he's the person we're talking about. So let's use that as the case study. He started on Sunday seemingly because the Titans chose him over Oli Udoh. We know there are other options. We know they could have tried Blake Hance at tackle. We know they could have kept Crenshaw Dixon on the active roster instead of dropping him down to the P squad. But ended up, they chose Ojukwu. And if you hear what Callahan said after the game, he said that the choice came down to trusting that Ojukwu knew what to do play in and play out. And so if the Titans are valuing preparation, if they're valuing awareness at that position over maybe physical prowess or over maybe tenacity or whatever trait you would personally value in your right tackle, taking him out could end up underwriting the reason they kept him in the first place. So I would advocate for, it doesn't seem like that's the guy. We've seen him play over the last 2-3 years. He hasn't necessarily produced as a starting caliber right tackle. But I would also advocate, I don't think there's anybody on this roster, J.C. Latham notwithstanding, who is the guy against an active pass rush. So do you rotate doors just to make it look like you are the discipline guy? Or do you stick with your guy to make it look like you're the coach who stands by his players and trusts them to not make another mistake, that knows that you did something wrong? And that's a delicate balance. I know some coaches prefer showing that they're the disciplinarian. I know some coaches prefer showing that they're the trust guy. And it's up to you as a player to want one or the other. I don't know if you, Ramon, were somebody who preferred hard coaching or preferred somebody who was more of a player's coach. But when it comes down to it, you have to know your players and you have to know, if I pull this guy out, is he going to spiral or is he going to respond?
It's fair.
That is
very fair. Nick Suss of the Tennessean, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. So, Nick, when you evaluate Cam Ward and look at the good of the crazy Mahomes-esque stuff in the red zone, paired with maybe taking some hits and missing some checkdowns, and Brian Callahan saying yesterday he's kind of a hunter, right? Like, we got to find ways to get some of these underneath routes thrown as well. Has Cam met your expectations through a couple of weeks, and what's the next step, in your opinion, in his maturation?
Yeah, he's kind of validated what I thought about him, which is he is really, really good at all the parts of playing quarterback that involve throwing the football. And he might not be at where he needs to be yet on all the parts of the quarterback play that don't involve throwing the football. And that's what you'd expect. He is a guy who's played 2 NFL games. I know he's had 5 years of college starting experience, but let's understand he's a guy who knows what he likes to do with the football, knows where he wants to put the football, and more often than not, the ball goes where he wants it to. Maybe he's a little bit late getting it there sometimes. Maybe he has the ability to check down sometimes. Maybe he needs to get better moving around the pocket or knowing where his escape paths are. Maybe he needs to be a little bit more willing to try to get the ball out of bounds instead of taking a sack. But remember, we had an entire year last year of talking about how it's bad when a quarterback tries to get the ball out of bounds instead of just absorbing a sack. So maybe you don't want to do whatever the opposite of having your cake and eating it too is with this situation. I don't know. I think that when he is afforded the opportunity to stand in a pocket and throw a football, I see a guy who's going to start in the NFL for a long time. When things break down, sometimes he has those spectacular throws. The touchdown obviously is going to get a lot of attention. But there are other opportunities where he probably could have made a better reaction or made a better decision here or there. I am totally not higher or lower on Cam Ward than I was 3 weeks ago. I think that this is a guy who looks like a player who has the potential to be something special in the NFL, but he is not yet something special in the NFL.
It's well put. And Nick, too, I know Brian Callahan says yesterday that sacks are not always an offensive line problem. It's an entire offense problem. Well, if that is true, then what is the offensive solution, right? Because if more can be done other than just, hey, block better, how do you see, starting with the Indianapolis Colts this weekend, this offense being able to take some of that pressure off of Cam through play calling, through the scheme, through receivers maybe catching footballs, which is a fun thing that we'd all like to see happen. What is that step and that counterpunch you see as being realistic for this offense right now?
I think all of that needs to happen, but I think 2 things that maybe are going under discussed that will end up helping Cam long term. One, caliber of pass rush opponent is going to decrease. So there should be a little bit more opportunity to get that extra split second. But 2, and through no fault of anybody's, not having Tajay Spears out there has removed an element of the Titans passing game. There are fewer opportunities to throw that outlet to the running back who can make plays in space as a receiver. And that is not a knock on Tony Pollard. That is not a knock on Julius Chestnut or Khalil Mullings. That is just not their game. And so a lot of those throw the ball, what was Callahan calling them yesterday, the creative options, run solutions, yes. A lot of those run solutions that are maybe going to Tyler Lockett or going to Jim DK or whatever, theoretically down the line, you can use Tajay on a straight up pass play as a run solution option. And I think that when he returns, that will unlock, I don't want to say the missing piece, but that will unlock another area this offense can use to kind of help Cam in his process. And maybe there's a reason they haven't been thrown to the running back as much this year is they need a running back to stay in and protect against these pass rushes. So everything does work in concert. But, I mean, look, Tajay's been averaging, 40, 50 catches a year through 2 years in the NFL. Having him come back should at the very least unlock a little bit more of this passing game.
When you look at the way the defense played this past week, pressure was there on Matthew Stafford. They got to him, knocked him to the ground and everything. But the setup of this defensive front getting sacks, and I know it doesn't tell the entire story, but you got one that was from the safety position. Is there more pressure need to be applied to those guys too, especially when you got a rookie on the offensive side of the ball that's at quarterback?
I don't want to be a defeatist. The Titans did not build a roster that is centered around guys who are going to get sacks. And we can re-legislate this. I know I spent a large part of the offseason saying, what are you doing? I know there are a lot of armchair quarterbacks here who have said that as well. The fundamental reality is maybe Femi Oladejo will be that guy a year or two down the line. He is not that guy yet in his development. And we have, I believe, 12 or 13 years combined of Draymond Jones and Arden Key in the NFL that tell us they are not high-volume sack guys. Jihad Ward is not somebody who's on the field enough to be considered a high-volume sack guy, even if he does have a bit of a track record for it. And I believe Jalen Harrell ranked either last or second to last in the NFL in pass rush win rate last year. You do not have guys who are going to make their money by getting to the quarterback. And it's not as simple as just go get that guy. There's a reason that those guys don't hit the market very often, and when they do, they command gigantic contracts. There's a reason that Micah Parsons and Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett got the contracts they did this offseason. But all of that adds up to the Titans are not going to be a high-volume sack pressure team if they prefer to just bring 4 every play. And that's what they want to be long-term. I've written this before. I've been told this by front office. Long-term, the Titans' goal is to build a defensive line that can win independent of scheme and blitz packages. They want to get to the quarterback without having to overload or having to be bringing Amani off the edge and all of that stuff. And you can do that in small doses, but I just don't think that the Titans acquired the personnel they need to be able to do what they prefer with this rush. So they're going to have to get creative, to your point. And maybe that happens, but the Colts offensive line's no slouch. And I think we'll probably see a better version of what they can do one-on-one against Houston, whose offensive line has struggled a little bit to start the year. But yeah, it's going to be a all hands on deck. Somebody's got to figure something out and play beyond their means, which is something we've yet to see the Titans do this season.
Nick Suss, the Tennessean, our guest. We just put out the article he wrote at Tennessean.com, at Ramona Will, and at Nick Suss, where you can follow him on Twitter. Nick, excellent stuff as always, man. Really appreciate the time.
That was awesome conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Happy to talk, and not surprised that the fact that I went to UGA didn't come up today.
We were just going to let that go, Nick. We were just going to let that. We had a good thing going today. Really good thing going.
Go ahead.
Unbelievable.
Oh, no. I've just wanted to bring it up, and then we can log off and talk again soon.
You know what, Nick? That was appropriate.
That's well done.
You do what you want when you're popping. I'll never stop a man from talking trash when you're on top. Good game.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, y'all.
All right, Nick Suss with us this morning. Great stuff. He's really doing an excellent job. I know I said it while he was on with us, but really, really good stuff there.
I was opening my hands as if I was orchestrating something by hearing him say this team isn't set for right now when he started breaking down Draymond and Arden Key. I was opening my hands because time.
It's like you're directing an orchestra.
Open.
You watch on Zone TV, you get these
I'm telling you, Nick told us, and you said it, we've said it, time.
Yeah.
Clear your mind. It's the only answer I have. Clear your mind, support, go have fun, catch Ubers home and just get trashed at the game. I'm be honest, be in it, be a fan the entire way.
Yeah, it is why, and no one wants to hear it.
No.
I understand the frustration, but it is why a new vision and direction kind of did just start this year. Like, this is not year one of the rebuild, but of this rebuild, with this general manager and this way of doing things, it kind of is. And people are groaning and rolling their eyes as I say that. And I understand it. I don't blame you. I am also frustrated. But that is the reality of the situation that they have decided to go down. They decided to start a new identity in a lot of ways in terms of being a drafted, developed organization, and that is the way that it starts. Again, as Nick said, we can re-legislate whether or not that's the right way of doing things once the dust settles and we know what this team is through 17 games. But we're not at that point yet. At this point, it's their philosophy, and they're 0-2, and they're going to try to fix it as much as they can in real time.
Go to the games, have an Uber set up afterwards, get trashed, scream, yell, go viral even. And go enjoy yourself.
That's going to be a clip. Get trashed, go scream and yell. Coming up, weird stuff around Tom Brady. The Brady thing, I don't know if you're watching Monday Night Football last night, the late game with the Raiders. Tom Brady did something really weird last night. We're going to talk about it next. Ramona Will wrapping up the show on 104.5 The Zone. Appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate Austin Price and Nick Suss for giving their insights and perspectives. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling, Buck Rising on deck. So Tom Brady was in the coach's booth with a headset on last night for Monday Night Football in Vegas, Ramon.
I saw, man. I don't know what to think of Brady. And
I'm really interested to know the context behind that. Was Tom Brady invited? Or did he just pick up a headset and nobody felt like they had the platform to tell him to leave? I really don't know.
Who's at fault for this?
It's a great question.
Fox for hiring him so soon? And
I don't think it's
putting
Fox.
him in this situation right here. I mean, is it the Raiders for wanting a popular guy to be a part of their ownership group? By the way, Tom Brady's not the only celebrity or athlete that is part of his ownership group. Like, I think the Williams sisters are part owners for the Miami Dolphins.
Lewis Hamilton with the Denver Broncos.
Yes. There's
Magic Johnson with the Washington Commanders.
It's just as Brady, and Brady is such a smart guy when it comes down to football, and we've always acknowledged that his brain that he used to play football was a little bit edgier than others. And also, allegedly, as I say this, the way the Patriots have done stuff. That was a joke last night is, boy, he can't get away from those Patriot ways, meaning you're going to take any kind of information you can to help your squad win.
And that's
Allegedly.
the thing. It's not the fact that an owner has a headset on. That I have no issue with. It's the fact that that owner is also a broadcaster for Fox that's meeting with other coaches and able to go to other practices and call other teams' games and then share that insight with the coaches of the team that he owns. Like, I didn't have a big issue with this before I saw the headset stuff. It's like, I mean, Peter Schrager reported during the game, Ramon, that he's having 2 or 3 phone calls a week with offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. And then Pete Carroll after the game said that's inaccurate. Well, who's lying? I don't think Peter Schrager's making that up. I think Chip Kelly spoke out of turn and gave some insights he wasn't supposed to. And Pete's like, hey, no. That's a conflict of interest we cannot put on the record.
Oh, seriously. It's
weird stuff, man.
It's super weird. If the NFL, no, I can't say that because that ain't true. The NFL is its own monster and we're all addicted to it. But the entertainment side that's involving itself in the sport, the showing of artists all the time. It used to just be like, hey, a nice camera wave and, Snoop Dogg's over there. But like the celebrity side of what the NFL is turning into, I do think they need to reel that back in just a little bit. And I know we can't. Jelly Roll does a lot of stuff here. Snoop does stuff and Snoop does stuff everywhere. We need to talk to Snoop about his involvement in everybody's franchise.
He is everywhere.
But my point is this. Lil Wayne is Green Bay. Like, the attachment to what social media has done to football or sports in general, where you got to have this celebrity attachment. I'm here to watch the guys in the game. Like, Brady and what he got going on needs to just be him being an analyst.
Well, and
it's hard, too.
Because the difference between Lil Wayne and all these other people you mentioned is those guys aren't on TV meeting with coaches and breaking down other teams.
Very true, too.
Like, Tom Brady just did Eagles-Chiefs.
Yeesh.
He's in meetings with Andy Reid and the Chiefs coaching staff. You think he isn't going back in one of those 2 or 3 phone calls a week to Chip Kelly saying, hey, here's what Steve Spagnuolo told me about their defense? Of course he is. Of course he is.
He's going to have them not wanting to give information and not meet with Brady. And I think Brady's probably an awesome dude to talk to, football-wise.
I underestimated the involvement that Tom has day-to-day with that organization. If that report from Peter Schrager is true, if he's really meeting 2 to 3 times with Chip Kelly, he cannot be in these closed-door meetings with coaches. Just can't happen. This is a problem for Goodell in the NFL. Because this guy just did a Super Bowl for Fox.
A
Super Bowl.
Yeah. And he's unfireable now at this point, too.
I mean, he's making $40 million a year. He's like he's the highest paid broadcaster in the history of sports television.
I can't wait till they up my pay like Tom.
Breaking via Adam Schefter, $20 million a year for the Ball Network to Ramon Foster.
For radio?
Coming up tomorrow morning, Rip Bryan, Scouts, Titans, and Colts. We turn the page to week 3. We will have much more on the Vols as well, much more on another big college football weekend. Don't let anyone ever tell you it's a sleepy college football weekend.
No.
That's the biggest thing you should have learned from this show over the past couple weeks. Take us home, Ramon.
Man, good people. We're more alike than we are different, okay? But you must remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic are always hot.
Go to Geodis Park tonight, NSC in Philly. Woo!